Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio on a glorious Libations Friday, loosey-goosey edition of the Jeff Cameron Show. I'm Jeff, that's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free. Always, don't miss anything, but hey, if you do, we got you covered all 3 hours. Upon the conclusion of the show today, will be posted on iTunes and our own audio vault. That's a good thing. On Twitter, it's at J Cameron Show. WTSM app for your mobile devices. Doesn't matter what kind of phone you got. You're all good to go there. Also, we're on YouTube, ESPN Tallahassee. Hello, YouTubers. Just type that in. You'll be able to watch us perform our duties here at ESPN Radio. All right, so last weekend without Florida State football for the foreseeable future. Thank God. Man, has this been brutal.
I don't know. There are two systems in the Atlantic.
Stop it.
Not named Jose.
I'll tell you something right now. We're playing through the next hurricane. It could be over top of Doak Campbell Stadium. Let's kick it off. Let's go. Got to find a way to work around the winds. I kid, kind of. Man, I get it. I know, human life. I got you. But football is very important.
That's a good way to start it off.
It's just very important.
Insensitive Cameron states.
Oh, yeah.
Headline.
Oh, of course. Yeah, let that make headlines. That's for dumbasses. So we'll see. We'll see. At some point, we'll be able to that point will be Monday, actually. Monday. I'll be able to talk to you about the upcoming game against NC State. Until that time, I'll spend a lot of time talking about that upcoming game between Louisville and Clemson because it's a good one. And I still wrestle with how I think it's going to play out. Not necessarily who's going to win it, all that good stuff. I have kind of been a little wishy-washy on that, although publicly and on the air I have said Louisville. Privately, I have to admit, I've had my doubts with my Louisville pick.
It's not so private anymore.
I just came clean. I've got my doubts. That's why David Hale is going to join us this hour. David Hale, he of ESPN.com, college football writer, friend of the Jeff Cameron Show. Although absentee David Hale is the way I like to describe him these days. My man, just tough to hunt down. You know, he's highfalutin, Tom. He lives up there in Charlotte, and that's where the ACC home offices are, and he's so busy brown-nosing with them to try to get on TV and take spots that should surely be mine. That then, you know, you can't track him down. It's very frustrating.
Spots that should surely be yours. Oh, so
well,
this is a personal thing.
If this involves any form of public speaking and or entertainment, it's not really a debate. If it were a writing contest, I would stand down and allow David to have his platform. But it's not. It's not. That's how we're going here. I'm kidding, of course. David and I are fast friends and all as well. But he'll join us this hour, and he wrote a really magnificent piece on ESPN.com about Lamar Jackson and his elevation in the passing game and where he's at currently.
About 3:35. He needed a couple extra minutes, so 3:35 will be his appearance.
All right. I look forward to it. We'll talk about that game and probably just that game because the vast majority of the piece is, in fact, all the piece is on Lamar Jackson. Actually, I'm curious just about that because Lamar has has wowed us in so many ways. But currently, he's throwing the ball better from the pocket and making reads and decisions that make you raise an eyebrow and start talking about things like the NFL, whereas you wouldn't have a year ago at all.
Yeah, there were moments last year you could cherry-pick highlights across the 12 games in the regular season and say, see, here it is. This is where he looks off a safety, or this is where he goes through progressions. But you would really have to do cherry-picking. Through the first 2 games of this regular season, it's becoming more and more normal that you're just expecting him to see downfield, understand the depth of the safeties, know where to go with the football, and sometimes just wait while looking down to his left, only to fire back to his right, knowing that something's going to break open. It's an exciting proposition. The question is, will he continue those habits when a real defensive line and a real defense comes right at him?
Right. Obviously, at the end of last year, the pile, the problems, they begin to pile up for him, and the sacks and the busted plays and the problems on the offensive line kind of revealed some frustrations. It also led to losses, more importantly, and at times what you read about was a divided locker room and a bad attitude. I don't know. We'll see. Now, I'm not one of those guys who likes to throw around that term bad attitude because it's something that people like to do when they're trying to disguise a certain other thing. But the truth is, he did have, I thought at times demeanor on the field is that you don't want your quarterback to have, period. Any quarterback ever. Because the quarterback has to be the unquestioned leader and has to be the guy that's the rock that everybody turns to. Even when things are going wrong, you got to be able to turn and look at him and say, okay, he's not too worried. But last year, late in the year, he looked real worried. He looked real angry too. So that was a bit of a problem.
Yeah. Again, another word that I know you don't mean the way, angry being another code word.
Oh,
sometimes.
yeah. No, none of these are dog whistles, folks. You know us.
But yes, he would shut it down at times. Even, after the Clemson game, he was inconsolable for a moment, which I can understand. They came so far back and it was such an emotional setting. And
it sucked too, man. It's just a tough play.
Because he didn't do anything wrong. The throw is correct if the guy can just stay in freaking bounds. I get it.
Hurt your feelings a little bit.
Awareness is needed. and that's the question in this game is how much awareness is there around Lamar Jackson on offense, and does that defensive backfield have any awareness at all? Or will it make a Kelly Bryant look like an average to above average quarterback? Because if it does, then Clemson combined with that defense can go and roll into Louisville and do what we surely could not last year when we played at high noon.
Care anything about Tennessee and Florida? Ordinarily, that would be a big one.
I do.
I do too. Here's when I think about Tennessee and Florida, I think about a game in which, it's not going to be pretty. And so what I'll watch is the race to what, 21?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good number. If you could promise me 21 as a Florida or Tennessee fan tonight, I think I would say yes. Take it.
Should be a good game. And then, moreover, I'm just elated that here in a number of hours, but not all that far away, we'll be able to take in college football because the NFL gave us a steaming pile of crap last night. And that is what the NFL is on Thursday nights, always. Moreover, that product in the NFL has at times suffered consistently over the course of the last 2 to 3 years. And we've had this discussion about, hey, I know the NFL is king, and it is. But it's hubris to think that won't eventually catch up with them. There are too many games where you watch a substandard product being played. And moreover, it's not entertaining. That game last night is embarrassing for the league, I feel like. I feel like watching that. And I understand what you have there. You have a rookie making his first start, so he's going to be bad, and he was. He was terrible. But also, and that's understandable. That's not being mean. That's just understandable. But when you watch what's going on in Cincinnati and the problems what has happened to Andy Dalton? I mean, look, he was never Joe Montana, but he wasn't that guy. He's missing the easiest throws, and today they fire their offensive coordinator. Well, there were 2 first-down throws that simply the average quarterbacks of this league have to be able to make. There's an end around that's fumbled that has nothing to do with the offensive play call. It's a successful play that goes, whatever that was, 30-something yards, and the guy just hands it over. I mean, it's almost always not a singular thing that happens, but a coach is the one who has to get fired because you don't fire players. But I might think about looking at somebody other than Andy Dalton. What in the world is going on with him?
That looks like a group that's tired of each other. They've played with each other for so long. They've always had this promise that they were going to win 11, 12 games and make a run into the deep into the playoffs. And here they are again, same old, same old. And I'd fire the offensive coordinator too. I'd fire Marvin Lewis years ago, but you know me.
No, I'm with you.
Again last night with the dispersing of carries, the distribution between Mixon and Bernard and Hill. Would you stop? Pick one of these guys. See if they can get on a roll and give you something.
I'm just going to tell you this now, and it has nothing to do with my obvious Oklahoma bias that I sometimes certainly bring up on the program as that being my second team because of family connections. Mixon is the best of that bunch, and when he was given an opportunity, he proved it time and again as a complete back. That guy got yards where there were no yards, albeit only 34 or whatever it was last night because he wasn't given that great an opportunity. But he was carrying J.J. Watt on his back for 3 yards on a run.
Yeah.
They don't just go with that guy because there's a toughness to him as well. And I hate lauding a guy who did what he did, but I'm just talking about the player. The player is really good. You drafted him for that reason. You already know what you have, and Giovanni Bernard. You know what he is, kind of a change of pace guy. You want to talk about idiocy and play calling and personnel decisions that would make me incensed as a fan because you don't have to be a football mincer to know this. Why are you running 3rd and 2 between the tackles, Bernard, when you just drafted Joe Mixon and you have Jeremy Hill?
And you have Jeremy Hill.
What's the point?
Yes.
That's the level of dumbassery that should never happen with an NFL coaching staff.
Why are you effing drafting Joe Mixon if you're not going to use him as your featured back? Well, after you already have two other potential featured backs. I mean, I get it. Bernard is a little bit more undersized.
Yeah.
But in this day and age in the NFL where you can use somebody's hands out of the backfield as much as you can, giving the rock to run between the tackles, Gio Bernard is a high-end game-breaker type player if you get him 15 to 20 touches a game. I think he's still that. I don't know. He's been on the shelf collecting dust half the time with Jeremy Hill running the other half. But it's just amazing to me. Instead of simplifying the problem at tailback, they've just added a third one to the backfield. It makes zero sense the way they approach offensive football, given all the weapons they have.
They got a lot of them. They got an average quarterback, and they've got an identity crisis, and they've got guys saying after the game as they walk out of the locker room, quote, unquote, it's toxic in here. Okay. Well, great start to the season. Welcome to the NFL. 0-2, haven't scored a touchdown, and players are talking about a toxic locker room, and you just fired your OC. Going to be a fruitful campaign for the Cincinnati Bengals this year,
Remember when Tyler Eifert was baby Gronk, and he was the next big tight end in the game?
It's good to be a Bucs fan right about now.
Yeah.
And I have not always been able to say that. Frankly, if you're a fan of any other team right about now, you probably feel much better about your situation, and that would even include you, New York Jets fans, which I thought could not be said. But compared to the Bengals, they're singing Kumbaya.
Well, they got no hope. So there you go. That's easier to sell than we have All-Pro here, All-Pro there, Rookie of the Year candidate if we gave him the ball here, a really good defense, Geno Atkins, and yet you've got 0 touchdowns on the board and you really haven't had a chance in either of your 2 games.
Derwin James says of James Blackman, he's going to be ready. Let's talk about it next on the Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You put your mower through a lot. All that back and forth can add up to thousands of miles. That's like mowing cross country. Gravely commercial mowers are built for all-day performance, helping you get the job done mile after mile. Gravely, built to mow the distance.
Get your Gravely motor only at TNT Supercenter, your one-stop shop for work or play. 14585 Highway 19 South, Thomasville, Georgia. TNTSupercenter.com.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
ESPN Radio has developed the Triple Play, Tallahassee's most effective advertising campaign. The Triple Play combines radio, TV, and the internet, and it's brought to you only by Tallahassee's #1 sports station.
Hi, I'm Travis Kelly, account executive here at 97.9 ESPN Radio. Call me at 561-8400 right now to find out more about the Triple Play advertising campaign and begin growing your business. It's football season. Everybody's listening. Call me, Travis Kelly, at 561-8400 to partner your business with Tallahassee Sports Monster.
No fans, ESPN Tallahassee's official home for FSU watch parties in 2017 is Miller's Ale House on Appalachia Parkway.
Francois to throw for the end zone. It is caught. Touchdown. Seminoles are going for the win.
The ESPN Tallahassee team will be on hand for every Seminole away football game with giveaways, a chance to win some great prizes, and to have a good time.
To the pylon. He's in the end zone for an FSU LSU touchdown.
So, when the Noles hit the road, join us at Miller's Ale House on the Parkway, the official FSU watch party headquarters of your home of the best in Seminole sports talk. 97.9 ESPN Radio, Tallahassee's Sports Authority.
As a small business owner, you're always on the go. So how can you make sure you never miss a customer's call? Grasshopper. With Grasshopper, you get all the features of a business phone system. That's right, Grasshopper turns your cell phone into a business phone system that's affordable and incredibly easy to use. Get a toll-free or vanity phone number that's memorable and professional. Customers are forwarded to your phone and connected to you or your team wherever you are. And with our app, your outgoing calls and texts show up as your professional phone number. We'll transcribe your voicemails and send them to your email so you can determine their importance at a glance. So whether you're always on the go or working from home and need to keep business calls separate, or you simply want a professional tone, Grasshopper makes it happen. Set up your account in just minutes. There are no long-term contracts and support is 24/7. Get your calls, stay connected, thrive. Now get $20 off your plan when you visit grasshopper.com/radio. Grasshopper.com/radio.
I'm Fred Conrad, and I'm a criminal defense lawyer. I believe your freedom is too important to trust to an inexperienced lawyer. For over 20 years, I've successfully defended those accused of DUI, drug offenses, and a host of other misdemeanor and felony offenses. My office is located in my hometown, and as a third-generation Tallahassee native, former local prosecutor, and law enforcement instructor, I have the skills and experience necessary to handle your case. When you call my office, you will talk to me, and I'll personally handle your case. So don't blow it. Call me at 222-4005 or go to fredconrad.com.
Don't just listen to The Jeff Cameron Show. Watch it live. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Live weekdays 3 to 6 p.m. Head to ESPNTallahassee.com today to watch live or catch up on demand. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Brought to you by Nice Tire and Auto, your trusted Goodyear dealer. 574-4100. And presented by TNT Supercenter in Thomasville, Georgia. And Franklin Spring Creek Ford. You're listening to The Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Live Nation's Friday loosey-goosey edition of the Jeff Cameron Show continues now. Bottom of the hour, around 3:35, says Tom Lang. David Hale, ESPN.com college football writer, will join us. See if I can get him go long. See if we can go from 3:35-ish, as you say, to the end of the hour, maybe. Hey, so I hate doing this week's Hell to the Gnaw because the team I had to pick is one that at first it made me cringe to have to pick. But then I thought, no, actually it's the exact team I want to pick because if they pull off the unthinkable, it will be a joyous call to be able to make. Don't hit it now because I'm not there yet. First, though, we're going to talk about this. Derwin James saying about James Blackman. James has been great. He's making throws. He makes checks. All I can say is he'll be ready. Now, it's been interesting, obviously, to say the least, this transition, unfortunately, with the season-ending knee injury sustained by DeAndre Francois against Alabama, with all of the other distractions. It's a little troubling. It's hard to imagine a scenario by which Florida State goes on to achieve their goals, which would be to go to the college football playoff and or win a national championship, at the very least win the ACC. The last of those that I just mentioned is something that I haven't given up hope on, although I do admit it's a tall task with a freshman quarterback. What do you make that day in and day out, week in and week out, unfortunately now, since this transition was forced to be made, all you can do and hear and read about is not just the coach, but players who are out practicing with him. In many ways, that's more important than what a coach is saying in this situation. Guys coming off the field being asked questions by reporters regarding the play of their freshman quarterback, all of whom I'm certainly not going to say he was terrible today or he looks like ass or our season is doomed, but they also don't have to tell you that he looks like Joe Montana, and they seemingly do that. Special. Kid's got it. Looks really good, makes all the reads, knows the playbook. Wait till you get a load of this guy for lack of a better term or phrase. That's what they've said time and again.
I'm skeptical. Again, it's not live. And, we saw some of what Jameis would bring to the table. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to do this. I'm not trying to compare James Blackman to Jameis Winston. But I just want to use this example. We saw some of what Jameis could bring to the table with our own eyes in the spring game prior to the quarterback battle of 2013. And then we played golf with Lawrence Dawsey, before the season started in the celebrity golf tournament. And he talked about, he's doing a lot of the right things, but you don't know until he's live, until he gets hit. And I just don't know how a real defensive scheme with the danger of being hit, if, there's a
at
protection
155 pounds
Correct.
is what he looks like, yeah.
I'm not saying he's going to allow himself to get hit the way DeAndre did, because a lot of those hits on DeAndre are because the quarterback decides to stand in there for an extra second and deliver the ball in exchange for the punishment. I don't think that's a wise course of action for James Blackman given his build just yet. But at the same time, does that factor change everything about what he's doing in practice? I doubt they've made him and put him live in practice in these extended times away from game preparation week. So when there's real defenses coming at you with real players and you can really get hurt, how quickly do you race through your progressions? See Deshaun Watson last night. In the preseason, he looks awfully comfortable and prepared. And then last night against the Bengals, it's one read, hey, I'm running for my life. What happens in those kinds of moments with James Blackman?
Well, the good news on that front, you're right, I doubt very seriously he's been live, but he has gone ones-on-ones, good on good, time and again, and he's been given extra time to do it. Derwin James went on to say this about all of the adjustments that have had to be made against the schedule, for the schedule. I feel like, quote, it will be a good transition for him. I wanted to see him play against Louisiana Monroe first to get that warm-up game in. I feel like with this extra week of practice, though, going against the ones, good on good, I feel like we're giving him a good enough look right now. And come NC State, yeah, he'll be ready. If he's, again, so we'll see. You're right. It's different in a game situation. It's interesting, too. Derwin brings up an aspect that I think is absolutely accurate and something that I don't have to see to believe, because I know this is how football players are. It's something I've talked about and applied to the fans during the larger discussion of what's going to happen in the efforts to will a true freshman through this season. We even jokingly brought up an old bit from the show in which we could yell, James Blackman needs our help. Derwin said that the receivers have changed, that they've been going to war for him in practice. Any ball that he makes that's thrown to them, they're making plays. They're making plays on the ball and the offensive line. They're helping him out a lot. Everybody's stepping up their game on that side of the ball. You can see it. I believe that. I believe that you play with a desperation when you're trying to protect one of your own who you know is being thrown to the lions, who you know is being asked to do something that isn't traditional, isn't ordinary, isn't something that is ideal. You want to protect him. You feel like, as a veteran player especially who's been through it, that you can do that. It's the ultimate team game. What better way to show that than to maybe go a little bit above and beyond? It sounds weird. It sounds like, well, why wouldn't you do that for everybody? Why wouldn't you do that for a senior quarterback? Because he doesn't need it as much. He's going to be able to accomplish those things on his own. He's going to be able to make those reads, those plays on his own over time. There are just it's a natural instinct to do that. I mean, why don't I protect you when we're walking in the Publix parking lot the way I protect a kid? Because you can handle it. You've done it countless times. You're experienced. You know how to get through the Publix parking lot.
Yeah.
These other guys might not.
Sure, exactly. Like if you buy a $10 set of plates from Target and you're putting that under the dishwasher, or you're washing it under the sink, how would you do that compared to fine china? And
right.
I think that's the thing here.
Yeah.
Is his confidence is fragile. They realize that this is a kid who is in a fragile position, and if a couple of things go wrong, who knows?
Right.
Who knows where he goes from there?
Go downhill, right?
Does he go in his own mind and get lost? So you need to make sure that you preserve as much of his confidence as possible. Make no mistake, if James Blackman is the player that his teammates are saying he is, then we're going to win all of our games and we're going to go to the playoff. But I don't think that's the case. I think there's also a preserving of confidence, too, that's going on in the media with his teammates. They're trying to make sure that they know, or that he knows, that they've got his back. And I think that's the message being sent in the press. Are there elements that can be really impressive and wow moments?
I don't
doubt that.
I think he's going to be pretty good. And I think that he doesn't have to be great. That's why I didn't give up on the season. He didn't have to be great. He merely needs to be average.
Right.
With that defense?
Right, with the parts around him, yes.
Just be average, baby.
But
you
if
can win enough games that way.
If he's special, it factor, all that kind of stuff, then we're having a happy conversation 2 months from now because we've just run the table in the ACC.
Which most don't think will happen, but I'm holding out hope.
Okay.
Well, I'm just saying.
If they're telling the truth. I mean, just put that, take it to a logical conclusion.
Right,
Does that sound right to you? No.
Yeah. It doesn't sound like it's likely, but, true freshman quarterbacks have gone on and played big games, played well in them. Just saw Georgia do it against Notre Dame on the road.
Yeah.
And win. Okay.
Just feed the rock to number 3. We'll be okay.
Here we go, man. I didn't want to do this Hell to the Gnaw because it involves a service academy, and I don't like to besmirch in any way ever a service academy. Wow. So don't take it this way. Don't at all. Rather, I put this label on them as the Hell to the Gnaw team of the week because I want to make that call more than any call I've wanted to ever make regarding a team that is labeled Hell to the Gnaw, pulling off the upset and having me call the bookstore and ask for gear to put up all around the studio. I would do it anyhow, but I especially want to do it with this one. So if you would, sir, the Hell to the Gnaw team of the week is indeed Army.
Hell no. To the no, no, no. Hell to the no. Hell to the no.
It hurts me, Army. Tom's dad, my granddad, I'm sure other members of Tom's family, all of us, we were loving on the Army, all of family and so forth in the Army. And I've got nothing but love. But 30 is the number against Ohio State. They're not going to beat Ohio State, Tom. Are you doubling down on are you looping?
No, this is one run.
Sounds like he's looping.
No, that's just, remember, they're competing people in the song.
No. Woo! 30.5, Army. 30.5. What you got for me? Come on, baby. Make it happen. Rise up and beat the Ohio State Buckeyes the way that Oklahoma so violently thrashed the Buckeyes just a weekend ago. Wouldn't that be something? Army emulating OU. How happy would I be in back-to-back weeks?
I think somebody might be suffering from heart problems if that were the case by about Sunday night into Monday morning.
Family time, Tom. Family time. He would cite family time. All right, Army, I won't prattle on like we usually do with the Hell to the Gnaw team of the week because it's Army, and I don't want to do that. Army is our Hell to the Gnaw team of the week as 30-point underdogs. They got to win it outright. Remember that, and then the calls happen. David Hale, ESPN.com college football writer, joins us next.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Blountstown Highway, 574-4100.
You can tell a lot about a tractor by its warranty. That's why Mahindra makes the toughest tractors on earth. With steel, not plastic. Backed by the industry's best limited powertrain warranty, period. Not 5 years, not 6 years, but a full 7 years on select models. No wonder the other guys are green with envy.
No money down, 0% interest, and no payments until July. Available at TNT Supercenter.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
The truth will fix your roof, 'cause it's what we do with quality, integrity, and pride. Parker Brothers Roofing, professional Professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
Hey, this is Travis with Parker Brothers Roofing. No one besides us wants to hear that you need a new roof. It's one of the biggest home improvements you have to make, and Parker Brothers Roofing understands. We now offer financing for 0% over 60 months. Yes, that's 5 years. Call us today for 5 years interest-free financing on that new roof. 656-8112. That's 656-8112, or go to parkerbrothersroofing.net.
Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
License number CCC 049350.
Miller's Tree Service, we go out on a limb for you.
Hey, this is Clay Culpepper with Miller's Tree Service. Summertime is here and storm season is right around the corner. We offer free consultations with a certified arborist where we meet with you and advise you on which trees are healthy, diseased, dead, or ones that may need trimming or even removal.
Miller's Tree Service, we go out on a limb for you.
Give us a call at 894-TREE.
Fire up the grills for another season of Seminole football.
2nd and 3, patient, then explosive, and a touchdown for the Noles.
It's Tallahassee Game Day, your ESPN Tallahassee pregame show featuring Jeff Cameron and Tom Lang.
Yeah, I like them.
Get the latest news, interviews, and insights 3 hours ahead of kickoff before the Noles defend home turf.
Hey, on Saturday, we're going to play a game. We're going to most likely win that game, and we're going to celebrate on Sunday.
Tallahassee Game Day is brought to you by Whole Foods Market, a leader in natural and organic food that brings the highest quality of local and global products to Tallahassee. Whole Foods Market, located at 1817 Thomasville Road, and presented by MMT Clinics of Florida. Visit mmtcfl.com.
To the pylon! That's a Seminoles touchdown!
Can't decide between fresh steak, seafood, or wings? Well, Miller's Ale House on Appalachia Parkway has it all. From center-cut sirloin and original pastas to fresh salads and favorites like Miller's Signature Zingers, tossed in your favorite sauce. Miller's Ale House has a full-service bar featuring more than 75 beers, plus wine and liquors. Bring the family to watch the big game inside or on their covered patio on one of over 60 HD TVs. However you come to relax, you will have a good time and great food at Miller's Ale House on Appalachia Parkway.
We alarm our houses, and we alarm our cars. But when it comes to your personal information, it can be tough to know when something isn't right. That's where Discover Card can help. Now, we'll send you an alert if we find your Social Security number on any one of thousands of risky websites. And this service is free for card members. Just sign up online. It's our way of looking out for you, not just your account. Learn more at discover.com/free alerts. Limitations apply.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. In the season opener for the Colts, Scott Tolzien was intercepted twice for touchdowns and then benched in the fourth quarter in favor of Jacoby Brissett. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports Brissett will likely get the start for the Colts on Sunday against the Cardinals. Giants wideout Odell Beckham Jr. practiced again today, a positive sign that he might make his season debut on Monday night against the Lions, coming back from an ankle injury. The Raiders will sign Pro Bowl offensive lineman Donald Penn to a 2-year, $21 million contract extension. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver wants to give all lottery teams a more equal chance at the number one pick. The Board of Governors will vote later this month on a plan to do just that. And ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski reports the board will also vote on a plan to set guidelines for resting players. The plan would strongly recommend that players be rested only for home games and to discourage multiple starters resting on the same night. Teams could be fined if they don't stick to those guidelines.
The Nissan Heisman House is back. Rush over to NissanHeismanHouse.com to enter for a chance to win a new Nissan Titan. No purchase necessary. Ends December 8th, 2017. Open to residents of the USDC 18 or older. Official rules at NissanUSA.com/Heisman House Sweepstakes.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. It's Libations Friday, brought to you by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill on Appalachia Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Show 97.9 ESPN Radio, Libations Friday edition of the program. Hello. Hey, we didn't get a chance to do this. Our schedules just wouldn't allow for it. That or David Hale is big timing me. You decide. Before the season began, ESPN college football writer, ESPN.com. Go find him, David Hale. He joins us now on the Jeff Cameron Show. Hello, sir. How are you?
Big timing, a C-list local celebrity such as yourself, Jeff. I would never.
Look at this guy. Look at this guy. Nicely done. Well, we're here now, so let's make the most of it.
All right.
I, for one, am really, really, really excited about this Clemson-Louisville game, even more than I was a year ago, and it's because of many things, but one of the things that you pointed out in your article on Lamar Jackson today, people should go and find it and read it. It's really good. Is that, as a passer, we're watching a kid take huge steps forward, at least early in the season. And if he can do that, Lamar Jackson, that is, then all of a sudden, all of Louisville's problems on defense and perhaps some problems that remain up front with this offensive line, maybe it's not enough to fell Lamar Jackson. Maybe the new and improved 5.0 Lamar Jackson's good enough to beat arguably the best defense in the country this weekend by himself at home. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, look, here's the rationale if you want to. Lamar Jackson is a better quarterback than he was last year. Last year they played in Death Valley. This year they're playing in Louisville. Last year Louisville spotted Clemson 18 points effectively, and Louisville still came back with a chance to win the game in the second half and actually led in the second half. And last year they were genuinely an extra half a stride by James Quick along the sideline before he was pushed out away from probably winning that game. That's how small the margin was last year, and I do think that Lamar Jackson is a better overall player this year. Now, having said that, I'm not sure where the rest of Louisville is. That defense has looked like garbage for the better part of the last couple of games, as they showed last year down the stretch, particularly in that loss to Kentucky, that they find ways to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. And the game against Purdue and the game against North Carolina to start this year should have been blowouts for Louisville, and instead both of them were close going into the fourth quarter. Lamar is a miracle worker, but this might be a really big miracle to work.
And it's weird because we agree completely on all of the points that you just made, and I think some of them, without belittling what you just said, seem self-evident to all of diehard college football fans who tune into the actual games and see them play out. If you watched Louisville play, you know that they look terrible on defense. You know they still have average talent around Lamar Jackson, and you know that guy is a one-man wrecking crew. You also know, if you watch Clemson, that while their offense has taken a step back, and they couldn't help but have that happen after losing Deshaun Watson, amongst others, their defense is still really freaking good, and they're at a place in their program now where they recruit with the big boys. They recruit with the best of the best. So you see all of that, and yet I just get this sense that Louisville is in that ambush mode again in a weird way, even though everybody knows about them, even though everybody knows it's not the same situation as it was when Florida State went in there last year and got absolutely hammered. It just feels like it's Clemson's time to lose, and it's time for Louisville to win a game like this again. Do you agree with me or not?
Well, so I talked to Brent Venables this week, and he was saying, the thing that really sucks about watching Lamar Jackson and Louisville on tape is there is play after play after play in which the defense does everything right, in which as a coach, when you were breaking that down the next day, you would say, great job by all 11 of my guys. And it's a 9-yard gain for Lamar Jackson.
Right.
Like, that's just how he is. And, so I say that the margin of error is smaller for everybody who plays Louisville. And so much of that game last year was about Deshaun Watson working the same miracles that Lamar Jackson was working. And so to your point, I think that's a reasonable thing to think, because Lamar Jackson's still there and Deshaun Watson ain't. And while I think Kelly Bryant has done a strong job of stepping in, really all around, you watch that Auburn game, and Auburn's defense is significantly better than Louisville's. There's no doubt about that. But you watch that Auburn game and you say, is this offense good enough to get into a shootout with a guy like Lamar Jackson and win that game? And I don't think it is. the ground game to me still has a lot to prove for Clemson.
That's where I was going. That's exactly where I was going.
And I just think even against a relatively bad defense, you just can't be one-dimensional. You've got to show some balance, and Clemson has it. Now, look, their defensive front is so good that it wouldn't surprise me if there's a defensive touchdown or two in this game, and that turns the tables. But this is as even a match. We talk all the time about all these big games. I don't really care about watching most of them. I'm just doing my job. I would watch them, but it's not like I'm excited. I'm excited about this game because I don't know what's going to happen. It is the best offensive player in football against arguably the best defense in football. Like, if you watch Saturday and you started at noon and watched Lamar Jackson do his thing, and you said, oh, my God, I can't wait to see him against Clemson. And then you watch at night and you watch that defensive line get 11 sacks on Auburn, and you say, oh, my God, I can't wait to watch them against Lamar Jackson. What could be better than that?
Yeah, it is perfect. By the way, in the piece that you wrote, again, ESPN.com, folks, you'll go find David Hale's piece on Lamar Jackson. One of the things I like that you did here is you got into, kind of the perception of what changed in the way that people viewed Lamar Jackson after last year. And we talk about the 11 sacks, or you write about the 11 sacks against Houston and that loss to Kentucky, and then a bowl blowout and all of those things. And it seemed like a lot of people forgot about the fact that he won the Heisman and that he put up unbelievable numbers and all these different things. But I also like that you point out that it was likely recency bias and nothing more as to why people began to dismiss them. However, one aspect I did want to ask you about while you researched the story and interviewed people is this. Lamar's attitude last year on the field, I'm talking about body language, I'm talking about the way he reacted to negative plays or blown plays by his teammates or whiffs by his offensive linemen, were the kinds of things that make quarterback coaches and head coaches cringe, because your quarterback has to be your unquestioned leader on the field. He can't show that kind of negativity play in and play out. And late in the year, I thought it got to him. Being a one-man show got to him, and he didn't always show the best body language and or demeanor on the field. Did that come up at all?
Yeah, and to his credit, I think he has realized that and has gone out of his way to swing to the other end of the pendulum off the field this year, where he specifically has said, look, I take as much responsibility for the sacks and the struggles offensively as anyone on the offensive line should. I held onto the ball too long, or I tried to make a play when there wasn't one there. He wants to take the responsibility for that. And to be fair, there's probably some portion of the responsibility that does belong to him. But look, if you watch that Houston game, I don't know that there is any one of us on the planet Earth that could have made it through that game and not been frustrated as hell at the guys around him. I mean, I always go back. If you want an image that tells the story of Louisville's last month of the season, it is the play against Houston in which their left guard rocks back in his stance before the snap so far that he simply falls over and is flagged for a false start. That is after he had gotten whipped for 4 quarters. And to me, if you're Lamar Jackson, you are the guy who is keeping this team alive. How do you not get frustrated? So I get it. I totally get it. And to be fair, there was a lot around Lamar that I think, I'm not going to talk too far out of turn, because you hear things as a reporter and you don't know how much of it is fact or fiction. But look, I don't think the energy in that locker room from the coaching staff on down was very good in November and certainly into December. I think the bowl game was almost a wash for them, that they were playing out of requirement more than enthusiasm. There was a lot of guys ready to go on to the NFL. I just think the attitude in general, and Lamar was certainly part of that, but the attitude in general in that locker room was not good down the stretch.
Is he having fun? Does he enjoy what this is now? It seemed like last year you could sense that the burden of being Lamar Jackson got to him, and that's kind of part of what we're talking about here. But I liked in the piece that you talked about how he's, he doesn't watch a lot of television, but he'll go on Twitter and respond to people who are at least chirping about making stops against him, but that it's in good nature, that it is fun. So is he having fun playing football?
I think so. I mean, and everybody has fun until they lose, so we'll see what happens if that case comes around again, and certainly it could be this weekend. But look, he's, even as the one bit of criticism he really seemed to take personally this offseason was the anonymous ACC coach who said he didn't have a shot at playing in the NFL. And because there's already some bad blood between Wake Forest and Louisville, Lamar suggested that he believed it was Dave Clawson who said that about him, and he was not happy about it. Dave Clawson has, for better or worse, denied having been the one to say that. But the long story short about that is, when I talked to Lamar last week, I asked him about that, and he just laughed and smiled, and he said, it's really no big deal. That guy doesn't coach in the NFL anyway. And, that's, to me, I think he has really realized that, like, you can't make everybody happy all the time. And this was a big thing. People don't understand. He is a very shy, quiet guy for the most part. He does not feel good in front of the cameras. He does not like being at the center of attention off the field. And it was a lot, I think, thrown on him to be the public face of Louisville last year, to be the guy at the center of the storm all the time, and to be a guy that was being picked apart in ways he never – I mean, you got to remember, he was not the highest recruited guy. I mean, that's part of the reason he ended up at Louisville is it was really not until his senior year that any other program paid much attention. He hadn't had that focus on him prior to last year, and I don't know that he handled it poorly, but he certainly could have handled it better. I think he just feels better about what his job is, what his role is, and what he's hoping to accomplish this year.
Yeah, and I think more and more you see this. David, when we saw each other at the ACC kickoff up in Charlotte, and we actually did a radio hit there and talked some about Lamar Jackson along with the rest of the ACC, one of the things that you're always going to find when you have a guy that hurts people as badly as Lamar Jackson hurt people with his legs and does things rather unorthodox and runs at times, makes plays, I should say, that certainly don't translate to the NFL. It's fair to chalk that up and to argue about that and to say, hey, that's not going to translate. That's not going to work. Guys don't want to hear that, but look at the league. Look at the guys that have made it in the league. There are few exceptions where guys like Lamar Jackson running around 75 yards for a touchdown pass make it long-term as a quarterback. There are exceptions, but it's very rare. So I get it now, whereas it used to always be about race, where it was always about labeling black quarterbacks to be a certain way and not capable of doing the job. We've moved pretty much past that to a large degree, thankfully. It's just about the league style and the punishment taken. That's why when you watch him now as a passer and how much better he is as a thrower and how much better he is at reading a defense and going through his progressions, that's the part that's going to get him the ability to, double middle finger everybody who's doubted him.
Yeah. And, like I say, I think he did take it to heart. He took it personally when he was criticized that way, because nobody wants to hear that.
No.
But to his credit, he took that information and really has worked to resolve those issues, those critiques of him. And whether it works long term, whether it works at the NFL, I don't know. I don't think any of us know at this point. But he's a much better overall quarterback than Michael Vick was at this point in his career. And Michael Vick earned $200 million contracts in the NFL. So, it's certainly possible. And I think, again, he recognizes where he needs to be to play at the next level. But, one of the things I think that doesn't really get talked about this, and I think you're 100% right in everything that you said, but as you're talking about it, this is kind of the thing that was popping into my mind, is that we talk about not being able to have the game to succeed at the next level as a derogatory thing. Well, I've watched my fair share of the NFL, and I would much rather watch college football because the way Lamar plays is so much more fun than this crap we see at the next level. I would much rather watch the college game and guys like Lamar be able to play with this sort of level of reckless abandon than this very buttoned-up way of the way that things, the structured way things have to be done and always have been done in the NFL. It's not as entertaining a product anymore.
Well, it's certainly not, and especially if you were watching last night. Hey, brother, I always appreciate talking with you. We'll catch up long-term again down the road, but for now, this is what we'll have to accept, and I'm honored that you came on.
I will not big-time you again. You always have a very special place in my heart.
Bye, David. Be good, buddy.
All right.
All right, man. Yeah, David Hale, ESPN college football writer, ESPN.com. No, it's funny, Tom, you and I have talked about this before, and that is that I used to root, and I did this. I talked about how I wanted RG3 and others like him, players who play in systems that don't translate to the NFL, who require the quarterback to run a lot, to make it. Because the league is the league, and every offense looks exactly the same. And if it doesn't, if you are one of those guys that an organization takes a chance on and decides, we'll cater our offense to his skill set, the things he did in college, it is beaten out of you. The teams that have tried to do that have failed. those teams have seen those quarterbacks have a year or two that raise an eyebrow where you go, oh, maybe it's happening. Maybe it's possible. RG3 did that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's happening. And in no time at all, those players are a shell of themselves. They are knocked silly. They stop wanting to run, and they don't have the tools, meaning they didn't play in an offense that allowed them to really develop from the pocket, read a defense, go through progressions, make anticipatory throws, etc., consistent enough to then see that skill develop rapid enough once the inability to run is shown to them. Once that happens, they don't become this other thing. It doesn't happen. There are exceptions. Cam did for a year in which he won the MVP. I'm worried about Cam currently, by the way. Name me another one.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen.
Yeah, I think there are two things that happen. One is, obviously, you're talking about the physicality of the league, and so it's beaten out of you to a degree. Russell Wilson still hasn't had it beaten out of him, but he also runs with a great mind for safety first at all times.
He also played at NC State in a pro-style offense and did,
Well, of course, yes, he's more gifted from the pocket, don't get me wrong. It's just that they utilize a lot of those
they move him around.
Elements in the offense. But also, the windows don't get expanded in the NFL for anything. Whatever scheme you run, if you have to get the ball down the field, the window is still so tiny to deliver the ball into. See the throw that Sam Bradford made against New Orleans on Monday.
He's probably never made that throw before.
But throws like that are made all the time by Aaron Rodgers and Breeze and Brady.
Yes, they are.
And even like a Stafford or Roethlisberger or even a Flacco when they're feeling it. When they're going hot.
Sure.
They can make those throws, and it's not crazy. I saw Mike Glennon make a throw in the preseason.
Well, he's got a big arm.
To Cameron
Always
Meredith.
has.
But it's a
Geyser made a throw in the preseason that you go, whoa.
You got to have that. You have that's required.
Completely agree.
But the good news for Lamar Jackson is he's making a few throws that look kind of like that right now in college.
That's what I'm saying. And if that continues, it changes the talking point. It's completely fair last year to say, well, Lamar's a special college football player. I don't feel real good about whatever he's going to do at the next level, aside from early in his career running around making some plays. Because right now, that's what I see him as. But if he's going to start making those throws from the pocket, and people do, they think it as a negative. As soon as you say, I got doubts about a guy at the next level, they think, and I know why, because there is historic racism involved in labeling black quarterbacks from college to pro and in the pros. I got that. But if you remove that from the talking point and just say that quarterbacks that come from those systems, white or black, Johnny Manziel was white, Tim Tebow was white, they don't make it. They don't make it. You can go through and find these guys, white, black, or otherwise. They don't make it. You got to make throws from the pocket, reads of defenses now, checks at the line. And if you don't make it. It's why I have concerns about Deshaun Watson, as special as he was in college. We'll see. I'm rooting for that kid. I like that kid. We'll see.
Yeah, as David says, the college product is more entertaining to watch for that reason. And,
sure.
You know, what I was thinking about in my head, we talk about the hash marks, and I think that changes spacing and allows defenses to kind of hone in on one smaller area of the field. The pocket is shrunk in a sense.
Right.
What if you widen the field in the NFL by 5 or 10 yards?
Then you would allow for some of the elements of college that people love.
I think
it would be fun, yeah. And you could still have the same rules about blocking downfield on RPOs. I don't want to welcome RPOs to the league or we won't have football.
Right.
People won't be able to make a stop.
No.
We'll be done here.
But I think that's, again, the crazy thing is the jump.
At least the 3 yards downfield. That's what I'm saying.
And Jameis talked about it when he first went there because we hyper-covered his transition from here to there down in Tampa. It's the linebacker level. It's that second level.
Yeah.
It's just the exponential jump an athlete is dumb.
Well, that's what closes the windows. Jameis said, look, I ran into corners that could really fly. I saw guys that I knew that I had to get the ball there now and make reads and throws now in college against the better teams. What I didn't see, even against those better teams, was the linebacker play.
Was that Navarro Bowman exists? You know?
That's
even
a real thing.
Even if you play Reuben Foster in Alabama, there's still a...
That Luke Kuechly is 40 yards downfield covering somebody on a wheel route.
Good God, and he can.
Yes.
You know?
Well,
how about that 53 guy? He wins the award, New Orleans linebacker Klein, for most annoying white dude of the weekend. Because Dalvin should have run for another 50 or 60 yards in that game. And think about it. I mean, the angle, he's got the advantage of the angle, but the fact that he runs Dalvin down in the fourth quarter of that game, I go, good God, with the linebackers.
It's nuts, right?
Why is this guy still trying? He was really Rudy-esque, but he was everywhere. So watch that guy Klein from New Orleans go land in New England or something and become a linchpin to a Super Bowl.
But I will tell you, he wasn't the most annoying white guy of the week. That always belongs to Kirk Cameron. Hour number 2, Fourth Cameron. The word would be coming. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You can tell a lot about a tractor by its warranty. That's why Mahindra makes the toughest tractors on earth. With steel, not plastic. Backed by the industry's best limited powertrain warranty, period. Not 5 years, not 6 years, but a full 7 years on select models. No wonder the other guys are green with envy.
No money down, 0% interest, and no payments until July. Available at TNT Supercenter.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
FranksAutoWorld.com. How has Frank's Auto World become Tallahassee's fastest growing used car dealer? Simple. Frank carries up to 70 of the cleanest used cars, trucks, and SUVs, then prices them on the internet lower than the competition. Think I'm kidding? Type in FranksAutoWorld.com on your smartphone, iPad, or desktop. Get multiple pictures and even a free Carfax of each vehicle and a rating by Car Gurus showing you the price is a good deal. FranksAutoWorld.com.
Attention all business owners, it's here. 97.9 ESPN Radio has developed the Triple Play, Tallahassee's most effective advertising campaign. The Triple Play combines radio, TV, and the internet, and it's brought to you only by Tallahassee's #1 sports station.
Hi, I'm Travis Kelly, account executive here at 97.9 ESPN Radio. Call me at 561-8400 right now to find out more about the Triple Play advertising campaign and begin growing your business. It's football season. Everybody's listening. Call me, Travis Kelly, at 561-8400 to partner your business with Tallahassee Sports Monster.
As a small business owner, you're always on the go. So how can you make sure you never miss a customer's call? Grasshopper. With Grasshopper, you get all the features of a business phone system. That's right. Grasshopper turns your cell phone into a business phone system that's affordable and incredibly easy to use. Get a toll-free or vanity phone number that's memorable and professional. Customers are forwarded to your phone and connected to you or your team wherever you are. And with our app, your outgoing calls and texts show up as your professional phone number. We'll transcribe your voicemails and send them to your email so you can determine their importance at a glance. So whether you're always on the go or working from home and need to keep business calls separate, or you simply want a professional tone, Grasshopper makes it happen. Set up your account in just minutes. There are no long-term contracts and support is 24/7. Get your calls, stay connected, thrive. Now get $20 off your plan when you visit grasshopper.com/radio. Grasshopper.com/radio.
Broadcasting live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio. WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. In the season opener for the Colts, Scott Tolzien was intercepted twice for touchdowns and then benched in the fourth quarter in favor of Jacoby Brissett. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports Brissett will likely get the start for the Colts on Sunday against the Cardinals. Giants wideout Odell Beckham Jr. practiced again today, a positive sign that he might make his season debut on Monday night against the Lions, coming back from an ankle injury. The Raiders will sign Pro Bowl offensive lineman Donald Penn to a 2-year, $21 million contract extension. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver wants to give all lottery teams a more equal chance at the #1 pick. The Board of Governors will vote later this month on a plan to do just that. And ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski reports the board will also vote on a plan to set guidelines for resting players. The plan would strongly recommend that players be rested only for home games and to discourage multiple starters resting on the same night. Teams could be fined if they don't stick to those guidelines.
The Nissan Heisman House is back. Rush over to NissanHeismanHouse.com to enter for a chance to win a new Nissan Titan. No purchase necessary. Ends December 8th, 2017. Open to residents of the USDC 18 or older. Official rules at NissanUSA.com/Heisman House Sweepstakes.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. It's Libations Friday, brought to you by Quarter Pocket Bar and Grill. Quarter Pocket Bar and Grill on Appalachian Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Hour number 2, Libations Friday edition of the Jeff Cameron Show. Lucy. Hope you're well. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free always. Don't miss anything. If you do miss something, all 3 hours get posted every day upon the conclusion of the show, both on iTunes and in our own audio vault. You can watch us perform the show if you want. It's on YouTube. Go to ESPN Tallahassee on YouTube. You'll find us. Hey, we get to welcome him in every week. He's Lee Sterling, Paramount Sports. Lee, I hope things are looking up for you. Are you back in South Florida?
Yeah, things are improving down here. I mean the biggest problem here, it's tree damage. I mean, a lot of trees are down, fences are down, and they only have power to about 70% of Miami. So still, almost a third of the people in Dade County, I think about a quarter of the people in Broward County without power. And, it's okay. I guess you can get by for a couple days, but if you don't have power or generator after 2 or 3 days, I had a couple friends that were telling me, I can handle this. Well, yesterday they finally tapped out and went to a hotel.
Yeah, man, it's brutal. It's brutal. Well, I'm wishing that you guys get it back on as soon as possible, obviously. Where are you going to go to watch the games, buddy? You got a business to run.
Well, I'm okay. I've got the place where I'm staying, the high-rise that I'm staying, since, we had problems with our house.
Right.
We'll be out for about 6 months. They never lost power, believe it or not. Power, cable, internet. So I'm all ready to go. We're working out of a remote office right now because even though my office has power, they don't have internet. So you make do with what you got, and you feel bad for the people that are affected, in Florida, Georgia, and also in Texas.
Without question. Let's get to the games. That'll take people's mind off of it for the moment. We've got some really good games, some fun games, interesting games, too, if you're a sporting guy or gal. Can I start with the really big one? I mean, because I'm really fascinated.
Sure. Florida State, Miami?
No, that would have been a fun weekend, huh? Think of what we would have had on tap. We would have had Florida State, Miami, followed by, or actually that would have been the night game. The earlier game would have been, Clemson, Louisville? I think that's how they would have done it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Clemson Louisville takes over then as the game, and really, I find it fascinating. Last year, I thought Clemson would beat Louisville at home, and they did narrowly.
Right.
But this year, in my head, I'm kind of leaning towards Louisville. I don't know that I should be, but what say you? Clemson favored by 3 on the road.
Well, yeah, I watched. In fact, I did this. This is the only game that I watched twice, and I watched the Louisville, North Carolina game, and Lamar Jackson is incredible. I mean, if you allow him, if you're only going to rush 4 guys and drop 7 into coverage or 3 and 8, you're making a mistake. You have to have a spy on this guy. He did a number on North Carolina. He put up over 700 total yards with their offense. And you got to think that Clemson is going to do a pretty good job because they had 11 sacks last week on an Auburn offense that has a good offensive line and a mobile quarterback in Jarrett Stidham. This is the matchup that maybe everyone's been waiting for all year, offense versus defense. If Lamar Jackson puts up a nice performance and they win the game, I think he's probably going to win the Heisman Trophy again. The problem is I just think that Louisville can, they just don't have a good enough supporting cast around him on offense. And then on defense, that's where the problem is. And I just kept watching the tape over and over. Now, it wasn't a night game. It wasn't a blackout. It wasn't a revenge game like this will be the last year since the Classic. But I just don't see many playmakers on this unit. Their cornerback play is really poor, and they have trouble tackling in space here. I think Clemson's still the class of the ACC. I like Clemson minus the 2.5 to 3, 31-23.
Great game, fun game, and a lot of things to digest there. We'll continue to talk about that one throughout the hour. Florida's given 5.5 to Tennessee. Neither of these teams are any good. Your thoughts?
Wow. You just laid it out there, huh?
Yeah, well, I think it's true.
I think Florida can be pretty good once they get back Scarlett and also Callaway. Until then, I think they're going to struggle. So the biggest problem here, and this is not a game I'm going to give to my clients. We always take on the biggest games. This is the toughest game of the 5 to handicap. Tennessee's defense, I think they look confused, and I think they're significantly weaker than last year. Georgia Tech, what they were doing in double overtime, going for it for the 2-point conversion, made no success. They could have scored a touchdown on every drive. Tennessee was done. They had allowed over 500 yards rushing. You don't see that happen, but maybe once or twice, maybe every 3 or 4 years in college football. And I think Florida will actually be able to run some here in this game. How about this stat? The team that has run the ball better in this series, 14-1, straight up. I don't think Tennessee can run it all on Florida. So I'm going to lay the 5 hesitantly. I think Florida wins and covers 27-17.
Southern Cal with an opportunity to somewhat, I guess, avenge one of the greatest national championship losses and performances we've ever seen when Vince Young went nuts for Texas. But this is a much different era for both teams. Texas has got a long way to go, and thus they're 15.5-point underdogs to USC, who looked really good against Stanford last week. What say you in this one?
Yeah, and you were up for that game. That was triple revenge for USC, and everything was clicking on offense. Sam Darnold, 21 for 26 passing. Their defense was flying around and making plays. But Texas, I don't think, can stop USC's offense. But how about this? Tom Herman. How well has he done in his young coaching career as a head coach? Well, he's knocked off Florida State. You remember that one. He's beaten Oklahoma when they were healthy last year to start the year, and they beat Louisville. USC wins the game 42-35, but Texas covers.
Keeps it close. LSU is going to Mississippi State. Mississippi State can score some points. They're going to score all year. I don't know if they'll stop people. LSU's given 7. Orgeron, the rah-rah guy, has LSU playing well. Is this a fun game for Mississippi State? Do they get up for this and cover the 7?
I think it's going to be tough. Now, they've improved a lot, Mississippi State. I also see improvement on the offensive and defensive line. But looking at last year's game, LSU was up 20-3 at half. I mean, they were dominating, and then typical Les Miles style, he takes the foot off the gas, just runs the ball predominantly 80-85% of the time. Leonard Fournette surprisingly fumbled twice. The final was 23-20. LSU won. But Fitzgerald, the star quarterback for Mississippi State, he only had 13 yards rushing. And I think that speaks volume here. This LSU offense is more balanced this year. Their defense is still smothering, and they'll get back Arden Key, their star linebacker. Mississippi State is one of those teams like South Carolina, much improved in the SEC, but their win last week over Louisiana Tech, I'm not buying in yet. Here's why. Louisiana Tech was really good the last 3 years. They are not a good team this year, and you have to identify that. So the buy sign is not on State yet. I like LSU to double up Mississippi State 34-17.
Wake Forest has got off to a good start, 13.5-point favorites over Utah State.
Yeah, and it's fun. We can take some time because there's no Florida State, Miami. Even look at some of these other teams and the SEC and also the ACC that are improved. And the Demon Deacons fit the bill here. I mean, they are soaring while the Aggies are an absolute free fall. If you've been backing the Utah State Aggies the last 15 games, they are minus 198 points to the spread. Their secondary
sweet Jesus
isn't. Yeah, that's good. Their secondary is in trouble, and if they have to pass on Wake Forest, I like their secondary. They have some guys that like to jump routes and go for the interception. In Utah State, you think they're bad against the point spread. How about this? 1-10 against the spread on the road. I like Wake Forest in a big time fashion here. I like them to to win in my Romper Room Special 34-14.
All right, bringing back the Romper Room Special.
Right.
Yes, I love it. Hey, speaking of Romper Room, your game of the week is fun for the reason that we all have to celebrate in unison, those of us who are decent human beings, at Baylor's immediate demise. There's nothing better than watching that sad sack, sorry-ass Renegade program have to deal with losses to Liberty and Texas El Paso. And now they're threatening to get blitzed by Duke. It's a glorious time to make fun of Baylor. Game of the week, Duke giving 14 to Baylor. How do folks get this game, Lee?
All they need to do is call me here at the office, 800-400-9741. We're going to find out, has Baylor bottomed out, and do they have maybe a game in them, or will Duke, which absolutely won in blowout fashion last week, continue on their winning ways? First 10 callers get it for free, 800-400-9741. Again, the number 1-800-400-9741. And I'm going to add a second bonus game. I don't think we've ever done this. I'm going to add South Carolina minus the 7 against Kentucky. So you want to get either Duke and Baylor and or South Carolina, Kentucky. Just call 800-400-9741, and we're on a roll. As we've talked about, Jeff, we've won all 3 weeks this year to start the season. You want to jump on board? Use coupon code SAVE100, just $397, gets you 3 weeks of action through Monday, October 2nd. Coupon code SAVE100, ParamountSports.com.
Thanks, Lee. Be well, sir. Enjoy the games.
Okay. See you,
All right,
Jeff.
take care. That's Lee Sterling, Paramount Sports. I have a couple seconds here before we go to break on that. And I got to tell you, Tom, I came into this Libations Friday soul-searching. I was looking for a game or two. I couldn't find the action, as they say. I was struggling to muster maybe 2 to 3 picks in my personal life for the Redemption Thursday fun for the show wagers. I was struggling a little bit.
Really? Because you made a lot of good cases yesterday on Redemption Thursday.
Well, I got to defend my picks, but I did. Listen, when I go through those 10 games, I do try to act as if, look, you have to bet these games, and if you have to bet these games, how would you bet them? So I do. I find the evidence that I need, and I do try to make. But if I'm not overly comfortable with the game, I'm not going to touch it, as we've talked about in my real life. Just like you heard Lee just now say, I wouldn't give this game to my customers.
Right. Yeah.
So folks have to understand something. When Lee does these games, he's usually doing games of maximum interest and or intriguing angles. These aren't necessarily always the games he's given if you call for the service. If you call and you say, Lee, I'd like to try you out. And you call, you say, I'll buy that whatever package that he's pushing at the time. And Lee says, okay, well, we're going to look at these 12 games or these 6 games or these 9 games for that package. They're not always going to match the 5 you get here with me each Friday with Lee. He a lot of times regionalizes games. He's on all over the West Coast, all over the Midwest, all over the South, all over the Northeast. He's not talking about Miami and Georgia and LSU when he goes on in New York.
Yeah.
He's not talking about the SEC when he's on in Pac-12 country. So he does cater the games to what you might be interested in and or the games of the week. Obviously, he's going to do USC Texas all over the country.
Sure.
But so the point is, but if he didn't like that in the betting service, he's not going to give you that game.
Something tells me the Wake Forest-Utah State game will be in the service.
Okay, so you correctly did the right thing there. You're identifying for our listeners what they need to listen to. There's some key things. Nobody in their right mind is going to talk to you about Wake Forest and Utah State for any time at all.
Mm-hmm.
Unless they really feel strongly about the opportunity at hand for Wake Forest, Utah State, right?
Yeah, I don't see the list. You get the list, and then you talk to him. So when he said Utah State, Wake Forest, I looked at you and said, whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, we both looked at each other and
He's
went,
got-
all right, he's got some inside dope.
Yeah.
So when you get the inside scoop there on that, and also, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know what his pick is with Duke Baylor, but Duke's going to beat the hell out of Baylor. So
that's one of your picks
that's
in
one
your
of my
personal
picks.
life.
Yeah. That's a fun situation you have there. There are a couple of games, but to hear him bring up that Wake Utah State game, have that come to life for you, that's a bonus potato chip action on a Friday that I didn't have. I didn't have it.
Usually he doesn't dangle that out there during the call segment either. Like
No.
At the same time, what you're talking about, he'll regionalize games and he'll put one he feels good about, but he's not going to give you one of his client picks.
Right.
I think he just did though.
Oh, I don't think there's any question. He gave you a client pick there, and partly because I think He wanted it. He wanted a big winning week this week. Last week he was 2-3 with us on these 5 games. I think he wants a 4-1 type week this week, and he's saying, "Well, listen, if we got to get real here for a second, I got some games over here."
I got you a romper specials. I got.
He brought out the romper room. We get that once every 4 years, folks. Let's all throw our mortgage on Wake Forest to cover against Utah State. I'm kidding.
We are not telling you to do a thing.
I am kidding. That was a joke. Clearly sarcastic. When you go back and check the tapes, FCC, after some dumbass bets their mortgage on Wake Forest and Utah State, you know I'm only joking. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You put your mower through a lot. All that back and forth can add up to thousands of miles. That's like mowing cross country. Gravely commercial mowers are built for all-day performance, helping you get the job done mile after mile. Gravely, built to mow the distance.
Get your Gravely motor only at TNT Supercenter, your one-stop shop for work or play. 14585 Highway 19 South, Thomasville, Georgia. TNTSupercenter.com.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Smart Bill. Once we enroll, we do everything online. Billing, paying, everything. What a time saver. Not to mention saving energy, water, and money.
And when we download the City of Tallahassee Utilities Digitally smartphone app, we can do everything on our phone. Pretty incredible.
Plus, there are new authorized payment locations, like some local gas stations, grocery stores, other city departments, and more.
We can even go to the Renaissance Center at 435 North Macomb Street to pay our bill.
Wow. The E really does stand for easy, doesn't it?
It sure does. E Plus from the City of Tallahassee Utilities. Your own utilities.
So your AC is on the fritz? Call Barano Heating and Air Conditioning for help, day or night. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air, 580-4029 or BaranoAC.com. Florida license number CAC 057652.
Yo, where the hell are you? Dude, I'm here, sitting at the bar. Where are you? The hell you are? I've been here for 30 minutes. Erroneous. BS. I've been sitting at this bar for 3 hours drinking pecan whiskey. We said Pensacola, dude. Why would we meet there? We're old men, and that's for the kids. Hashtag Northsiders. Did you just hashtag me? Hashtag hell yes. See you in 30. Get the mahi and a beer.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
You're locked in with the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Great song, great album, good band. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Libations Friday, Loosey Goosey edition. Hope you're well. Hey, you know, I know it's a little early. Can we do I want to do the, have some fun with the Seventh Hill Tap Room, folks. Let's do our thing. Let's cue that thing up.
Little beer 30 action.
It's Friday, so we could do beer 30 early.
Count them up, pour them out.
I'll just have a cup of coffee.
There it is.
It's Beer 30, brought to you by the Seventh Hill Tap Room on Appalachia Parkway.
It sure is. Libations Friday, never a better time than that to head to the Seventh Hill Tap Room. You don't even need a reason.
No, you don't need a reason, but I can give you about 94 different reasons, or how about 14 on the self-serve tap list?
I like the 14.
14
Those
self-serve
are good 14
taps.
reasons right there.
The best happy hour special in town is this happy hour special at the Seventh Hill Tap Room. For every $10 you spend on a self-serve tap card, they give you 5 bonus dollars for free from 4 to 7 p.m. Seriously. So if you want to spend $20, you get an extra $10 in extra beer.
Nicely done.
There you go. Do it now. Go to the Seventh Hill Tap Room below the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill on Appalachia Parkway.
And thanks to our friends at the Seventh Hill Tap Room, right underneath the Corner Pocket and Bar and Grill, as you just noted, Tom, where you can always find the newest and freshest Florida craft beer.
That's what they do. They focus on the Florida craft beer there.
Hey, you know what I will tell you that sucks is if I read this earlier today and I thought, man.
Not the Seventh Hill Tap Room. That place kicks ass.
Not at all. We're moving from something that's great, that doesn't suck, to something that absolutely sucks. And that is that Coach Doug Peterson of the Philadelphia Eagles, who's a good coach, said today that 4th-round running back Donnell Pumphrey, you remember him?
Yeah, that was the kid San Diego State, right?
Yeah, he tore his hamstring in half. Jesus. Have a good day. Thanks for playing. That sucks, right? Yeah, it's not torn in half. It's not quite that bad. It's severely pulled, which I'm going to tell you, when they come out first week and tell you somebody's out for 8 weeks, 6 weeks, if best case scenario, 10 weeks, worst case scenario, no, his season's done. You have a hamstring to that extent, we're done here.
You mean like Derwin James was out for 6 weeks initially?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's over. He won't play this year. That's done. And also, I hate it when you read about running backs in general, or receivers, of course, having hamstring issues. There are positions you can play where you can deal with tightness there. You can deal with some of the strain that comes with all of that. I mean, it's not ideal ever in any sport to have a hamstring issue. But if you're a running back or a receiver that's got to plant, cut, and go and be a top-end speed and stop-start a lot, a lineman's not stop-starting a ton. You got your initial push off, and then you kind of just the play is over. But, man, when you've got to stop and then go, and we got to let it go, we got to let it fly, it's all the more reason to think back on what Dalvin Cook did that year. I still can't fathom how that's possible. It's the damnedest thing I've ever seen. I've never seen somebody with a serious hamstring problem, one that would see his hamstring seize up and cause him to collapse, as Dalvin did against Miami, and have to drop the ball. He was in so much pain. I mean, to see guys suffer that, I immediately cringe and say, they won't be back this year. How he did that, I don't know. It's a testament to, obviously, the advancements in medical science, because the way they're able to treat that during the week so that he could play on Saturdays allowed him to do that. His knowledge of his own body, all those things, the strength of the surrounding muscles, I got you. But it just doesn't typically happen. And so when I read that today, I thought, man, the Eagles are a nice little story, a good team. They're going to be kind of a fun team to watch. I'm really, really intrigued by what Carson Wentz is going to become by the end of this year. And I saw that and I thought, man, that's problematic.
Well, and Dalvin did it against Louisville, too, here 2 years ago.
Yeah.
He came out of the game for a couple stretches and then came back and proceeded to dominate. You also see what happened to Jarrell Freeman for the Bears?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tore his pectoral.
Tore his pectoral. That's not good.
And played through it. Then he was concussed in the game. He's out for an extended period of time.
Think football's a tough game?
It might be. But that's great news for the Bucs, because he was their leading tackler last year, even with a 4-game suspension due to PEDs.
Yeah, he was really good. And, oh, by the way, this is funny in this sense. When you have, years ago, probably before you were alive, if I remember correctly, John Offerdahl, you ever heard the name? Played for the Miami Dolphins?
Maybe.
All right, he was part of a defense that was really, really good that got them to the Super Bowl. But anyhow.
Oh, they're definitely not, no.
So he, along with some other players over the course of about a 2 or 3 year window, not all Dolphins, this was part of a trend that I was noticing, because I was becoming of the age where I wanted to lift weights and get bigger, and I was obsessed with it. You get to that age when you're a junior in high school or a sophomore in high school, you start thinking about getting bigger, especially if you're playing football. And you'd hear about these guys with muscle gains. You'd hear about these guys that would put on 15 pounds of muscle. And in truth, and you hardcore workout guys know this, you can't really do that in a short period of time. It takes an awful lot of work to put on 15 or 20 pounds of muscle. That's a ton of muscle. Well, almost always when you would hear about these great gains or this incredible feat of strength on the bench press, guys would end up tearing a pec. Well, when I read that
Jarrell Freeman.
Yeah, Freeman tore his pec, without reading the rest of the story, thought, that's suspect. It's not normal to tear your pectoral muscle. It's not a common occurrence. It's not an injury that should happen. When you think about the game of football, you think about knees and ankles and hamstrings and shoulders and torn pectorals shouldn't happen. So I thought in my head, that guy's on roids. That guy's using steroids. These freak accidents where guys tear their pectorals, that's steroid related usually in my experience. I read the rest of the article. They mentioned the 4-game suspension for PEDs, and I went,
Yeah, man. Actually, it's funny that Madden considered that, though. In the 90s, the Madden game, if you had a season-ending injury, it was likely a torn pec.
Torn pec.
And your guy would be hurt. You go, torn pec? He's out for 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Son of a...
Well, I'm telling you, that's a steroid. That's a byproduct of steroids, performance-enhancing drugs, guys being able to push up more weight than their body would allow them ordinarily, putting on extra muscle and extra, obviously, intense. To me, you're talking about the level of intensity is going above and beyond what a person's physical capabilities are without the enhancements.
I went back and watched the Falcons and Bears game, the condensed version this morning. Mm-hmm. And one thing I did note
You're really worried about the Bears, aren't you?
No, I just want to be informed, man.
No, I got it.
That defense really hits. They play with reckless abandon. Some teams, they wrap you up and they bring you to the ground. And other teams look to impose an identity. They try to go get you. They, from a rust standpoint, you're not used to the game speed. They're going to wake Tampa up real quick. Because if they have a chance, they're going to square you the hell up.
I think the Bucs are going to come out looking to do the exact same thing, though, Tom. It's a matter of angles. It's a matter of a technique that gets lost when you're rusty, but not aggression. And I think aggression will be there for Tampa Bay, so they should match the intensity. That ought not be the problem. You could still have problems with technique. You could still have problems with angles, speed of the game type stuff, but you ought not have a problem with intensity. If Tampa Bay doesn't come out ready to play, then they've done a really terrible job of coaching them up this week and getting them ready to go, because that can't happen in your first game, a home opener, when you've been chomping at the bit. I think Jameis will have a good game. I think the Bucs will play well. I'm excited about the game. I do think the first quarter could look ugly. I think we might look disjointed, convoluted. Yeah, some frustration there. Yeah, that can happen. I'm like you, though. We talk about it on the Scuttlebucks. And, folks, if you're not listening to the Scuttlebucks, you're doing yourself a disservice. It's a great 1-hour podcast that Tom and I do for JoeBucksFan.com. And you can go listen to it. It's produced by us here in studio, and it's done every Wednesday. So you'll find it on iTunes if you want to go download it right now. But what I'll tell you about is that we're talking about the Bucs, and there was a reason I was going to bring up playing
disjointed
well. Disjointed, convoluted, all that. The more I think about this game and the more I think about Tampa Bay's season, we're in total agreement on something here. It's easy to debate wins and losses and all that kind of things because there's the unpredictability of playing 16 straight games and injuries and things that happen. But I think Tampa Bay offense is a real problem for people. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of weapons here, and watching it play out, I want to see the dynamic of Deshaun Jackson. How many footballs does he need
Good catch.
per game to not be a bitch?
Yeah.
What is it, targets or is it actual receptions?
Oh, okay. See, I see where you're going. This is something we did discuss in the podcast.
Yeah.
We're talking about things that could be a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, if he doesn't get enough targets his way, then he shuts down on you.
Well, and he talks about it. That's the bigger problem, is that he's over on the sideline mentioning it. These are things that he's willing to discuss with you.
And I have to say, Hard Knocks this year was great. It was a lot of fun, entertaining to watch. It was mostly positive. And I think that's also by design. In certain years on Hard Knocks, you see it presented in a way where you go, man, that's brutal.
Yeah.
They're being brutal, this team. It was closer to a season than it was some seasons of Hard Knocks that I've seen in the past.
Except that I think the nature of that team, the collection of those players, and the direction of the organization lent itself to that.
That is correct.
Naturally.
They're trending upward.
Yeah,
everybody's hunky-dory right now.
Young, hungry team, trending upwards, back-to-back better seasons than they had the previous 2 seasons.
But even with all of that, you did see some of Deshaun Jackson shutting down. And you saw evidence that it's still in him to be that bit of a bitch.
Well, he's a receiver.
Yes.
By definition, they all.
Well, but Mike Evans really isn't the same way that Deshaun Jackson
I bet
is.
he could be. I bet he could be. We'll see. I bet he could be. He hasn't had to be. Yeah. Everything's been thrown to him.
The evidence that I was pointing to the other way was Jameis recognizing in one episode, he says, okay, so I got to get you the football early. Okay, done. He did that with Kelvin here. We all know that.
Well, yeah, and
we
your
all
good
know that.
Quarterbacks, your best quarterbacks, if they're going to rely on a guy, if they're going to need a guy, they'll work him in. He could be the secondary or third option on a play, and they're going to get the ball. They're going to force a couple in there. He used to force it to O'Leary because O'Leary was a guy that wanted the ball as well.
Sure. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
O'Leary was one of those types as well. But Deshaun also, the evidence that you see, he was working through check down, side adjusts, and theory football with Jameis when they were chewed out before their game against the Jaguars.
Well, he's got an acumen for the game, which is important. He's not just a blazing fast guy. He's got an acumen
you don't know
for the game.
until you see behind the scenes like that. They're talking about high IQ football, and if he wants to care and he wants to talk about little details like that with Jameis, well, then this is going to be a match made in football heaven.
Glorious to be talking about football for at least one of our teams that will be played this weekend on Sunday at 1 o'clock, the home opener for the Bucs. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You can tell a lot about a tractor by its warranty. That's why Mahindra makes the toughest tractors on earth. With steel, not plastic. Backed by the industry's best limited powertrain warranty, period. Not 5 years, not 6 years, but a full 7 years on select models. No wonder the other guys are green with envy.
No money down, 0% interest, and no payments until July. Available at TNT Supercenter.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
With quality, integrity, and pride. Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
Hey, I'm Travis with Parker Brothers Roofing. Some roofers are like a bad boyfriend. They make lots of promises, but in reality, they're just cheap. They don't own up to their mistakes, and they leave you with a lot of regret. Parker Brothers Roofing stands behind every installation, and if a mistake is made, we own it and fix it. Our customers never have to worry about being left behind for the next job. At Parker Brothers, it's quality that builds our quantity. Call us at 656-8112.
Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
License number CCC 049350.
As a small business owner, you're always on the go. So how can you make sure you never miss a customer's call? Grasshopper. With Grasshopper, you get all the features of a business phone system. That's right. Grasshopper turns your cell phone into a business phone system that's affordable and incredibly easy to use. Get a toll-free or vanity phone number that's memorable and professional. Customers are forwarded to your phone and connected to you or your team wherever you are. And with our app, your outgoing calls and texts show up as your professional phone number. We'll transcribe your voicemails and send them to your email so you can determine their importance at a glance. So whether you're always on the go or working from home and need to keep business calls separate, or you simply want a professional tone, Grasshopper makes it happen. Set up your account in just minutes. There are no long-term contracts and support is 24/7. Get your calls, stay connected, thrive. Now get $20 off your plan when you visit grasshopper.com/radio. Grasshopper.com/radio.
I'm Fred Conrad, and I'm a criminal defense lawyer. I believe your freedom is too important to trust to an inexperienced lawyer. For over 20 years, I've successfully defended those accused of DUI, drug offenses, and a host of other misdemeanor and felony offenses. My office is located in my hometown, and as a third-generation Tallahassee native, former local prosecutor and law enforcement instructor, I have the skills and experience necessary to handle your case. When you call my office, you will talk to me, and I'll personally handle your case. So don't blow it. Call me at 222-4005 or go to fredconrad.com.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. In the season opener for the Colts, Scott Tolzien was intercepted twice for touchdowns and then benched in the fourth quarter in favor of Jacoby Brissett. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports Brissett will likely get the start for the Colts on Sunday against the Cardinals. Giants wideout Odell Beckham Jr. practiced again today, a positive sign that he might make his season debut on Monday night against the Lions, coming back from an ankle injury. The Raiders will sign Pro Bowl offensive lineman Donald Penn to a 2-year, $21 million contract extension. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver wants to give all lottery teams a more equal chance at the number one pick. The Board of Governors will vote later this month on a plan to do just that. And ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski reports the board will also vote on a plan to set guidelines for resting players. The plan would strongly recommend that players be rested only for home games and to discourage multiple starters resting on the same night. Teams could be fined if they don't stick to those guidelines.
The Nissan Heisman House is back. Rush over to NissanHeismanHouse.com to enter for a chance to win a new Nissan Titan. No purchase necessary. Ends December 8, 2017. Open to residents of the USDC 18 or older. Official rules at NissanUSA.com/Heisman House Sweepstakes.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. It's Libations Friday, brought to you by Quarter Pocket Bar and Grill. Quarter Pocket Bar and Grill on Appalachia Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Time to get a little nervous, Tom. I thought it was going to work out for you and every other Ezekiel Elliott team owner in fantasy football, but the NFL kind of sees the folly in the situation and doesn't want to allow a guy that they think ought to be suspended for 6 games and upheld to be able to play the entirety of a season despite what their decision was. And so 2 years ago, of course, the NFL accepted the decision to block Tom Brady's suspension pending the outcome of his litigation, as you recall. This time, the NFL is saying, we're not doing that nonsense. We're not waiting around, letting you play all the games you want to play and allowing Dallas to have success when you ought to be suspended. So they've opted for a more aggressive approach regarding that ruling that blocks Ezekiel Elliott's suspension for now. The league has filed what is known as an emergency motion for stay pending appeal, which specifically requests a decision by September the 19th and no later than September the 26th. So in 4 days and or 11 days, no later than 11 days. The earlier date would take Elliott off the field for Week 3 against the Cards if the motion's granted. The later date would start the suspension in Week 4 against the Rams, would go through Week 10. We'll see how that works. The stay would allow the suspension to be enforced while the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit considers whether to overturn the ruling that delays the appeal. The league's primary goal, obviously here, would be to put the issue of jurisdiction before the appeals court. Hopefully that the appeals court, they're hopeful that the appeals court will find that the entire case should be dismissed because it was filed too soon before the federal judge in Texas rules on the issue of whether the case should be dismissed.
Huh?
The NFL wants this guy to start a suspension now. The Dallas Cowboys, the Players Union, Ezekiel Elliott does not. The NFL said, last time we let Tom Brady go ahead with his legal action, which then allowed him to play football games for the season, and we didn't think that was real cool, made a mockery of the whole damn shebang. And we're tired of it. So now we're going to ask a court to say, no, you can't do that.
We don't want to go run down that same highway. And, and here's where we are now. I was trying to say the dark highway and run down a dream, but I molded it together.
Running
That's
down a dream?
Yeah.
Yeah, you were trying?
I was trying really hard.
The league hopes to secure the dismissal of the Texas case with the lawsuit the league filed in New York, then taking precedent at that point. Based on the eventual outcome in the Brady case, the league believes that it would quickly win the New York case then.
Well, of course, the jurisdiction is more friendly in New York.
Yes.
That's why they want to move it there, this, again, it's a dicey situation because you don't know the particulars of the case and whether or not Zeke is even guilty of this or if he is very much guilty of this. So
even if he's guilty of it, you still have problems because, again, like we talked about, there were doubts from their own investigator
Correct.
as to the veracity of what the woman was saying, and she suggested to Roger Goodell not to go forward with a suspension.
Correct. And if I'm a court and I have that bit of evidence in front of me and I don't have any other evidence, that's the biggest smoking gun, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
There aren't photos that incriminate Ezekiel Elliott, something that would compel me to say this man is guilty. Then why the hell, if I'm presiding over this ruling, why the hell
side in favor of the NFL?
Well, why is this an emergency? I'm sorry, guys. This is an emergency. Why? I have many important things I have to rule on every single day, and this concern is an emergency of yours. Why?
Well, it's interesting because I would think that what they have with the CBA is such that they have the latitude to do what they did. They ended up saying, look, it doesn't matter. This isn't a court of law. This is not by the law. That's not how our system works. Roger Goodell is given great latitude with how to levy suspensions, fines, and everything else, regardless of the evidence or not.
But what the Zeke camp is saying is that there is, for a lack of better legal term, there's extra special attention on this one. That this man is being, picked apart from the rest of the crowd, and he's being, I guess, circled as to be made an example of in an unfair way that goes above and beyond the CBA, that ignores their own investigation and ignores their own protocols. It would be akin to the NCAA has no legal, jurisdiction over what a college football program does. But it does tell you, set a process for drug testing.
And if you don't adhere to it, then this is what happens.
Right. And so I would think what the Elliott team is saying is, okay, they have a process.
But you didn't hear, yeah.
It's a dumbass process.
But they agreed to it.
This guy is judge, jury, executioner, but they do have a protocol they go through.
And they're saying that they didn't follow it, but the definition of following that protocol is a pretty damn loose one. It's pretty ambiguous. It's hard to say with great certainty when you read how that reads, that they didn't follow their own procedure because they wrote it that way on purpose. They want the latitude to be able to do whatever the hell they want. What's crazy is that this was ever agreed to, which is why we keep getting back to the subject at hand, which is there's going to be a lockout. There's going to be a strike when the time comes.
Robert freaking Smith, he's the guy. He's on Fox Sports, I think, now. You don't see him anymore. That's probably why. But he always, at every turn, anytime somebody says that it's a weak union, he gets all up in arms. And it's like, are you so blind? Every time there is a player punishment being levied out by the commissioner's office, every time we have to debate where's the congruence to where's the precedent to past rulings. How is it that Zeke can be suspended 6 games for this particular offense and somebody with the same type of offense could be suspended for 2 or 4? Why are PEDs 4 versus domestic violence charges that were he wasn't convicted? There's no evidence to it.
Again, that has nothing to do with it. Oddly enough, which is why I proposed to you that one day about a week ago, what if they just fell back on the law? What if they just said, we're going to, from here on out, we're just going to fall back on the law? There's too much he said, she said, or he said, or she said, any of it. We're not doing it.
At that point, why don't you suspend Jameis when he first comes into the pros, if this is what we're doing here?
Well, right. Under the rules, I suppose he could have. I mean, I don't know if those rules were. Yeah,
remember
he
had the league meeting. He went to Goodell's office and
all
Goodell
that. Imagine how frustrating it is. I don't want to get into this, but can you imagine how frustrating it is for somebody who is falsely accused?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Now, Zeke may be guilty,
I was about to say
him if he is.
Right. That's the hardest part, too, because I don't want to be an advocate for Zeke Elliott based on what I've read. It certainly doesn't sound like he's a choir boy. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to be a choir boy. You don't have to kowtow. You don't have to do any of those things. I rather enjoy people who are their own personality and all that. But from what else you read about him, he hasn't made smart decisions. He's made at some points, criminal decisions. I don't know that he's a great guy. I don't know that he isn't. He's hard to defend based on what I've read, but it does seem like, yes, again, we continue to come back to the inconsistencies, and that's the big thing, but it's all within the CBA for them to be able to do that.
They just don't have any evidence, though. I mean, the moment last week or 2 weeks ago, they leaked out the story that somebody told somebody that Zeke on draft night was, smoking weed and doing cocaine. To me, that you're leaking that because you want to smear campaign the player.
Well, sure, that goes on all across all leagues, by the way. I noticed that.
Judges are hearing over, or are presiding over this, not a jury. So you're just doing that to hurt somebody's image. You're not doing that to influence any further court decision down the line.
But remember this though. It was a combination of 3 or 4 incidents.
Correct.
2 of which they do have evidence that he absolutely did. So he's not completely innocent. I'm not saying I'm defending the league. I'm just saying they do have evidence, just not the big one, which is the violence against his girlfriend.
Yeah,
that's the one that would if they had overwhelming evidence of that. Well, A, if the cops had overwhelming evidence of that, he'd be in jail. B, that would be what? What is? We don't even know what the suspension is for domestic violence because it moves around.
Correct. No, you can't redo the Ray Rice case. I'm sorry. And I think that's part of what's going on here for somebody who was never formally charged or convicted with a crime. So I don't get it. It's just the CBA operates independent of the legal process. I hear you 100% over.
It sure as hell does.
But I believe Ezekiel Elliott's people have a case here. His team has a case here to appeal to a higher court saying, listen, CBA or no CBA, there's also just fairness. And you as a government entity, as a legal entity, can rule on whether or not the CBA is being enforced above and beyond what we signed and agreed to.
Here's what's going to happen. Well, I shouldn't say here's what's going to happen. The NFL is trying to use their leverage. They're trying to use their substantial influence to get the courts to hasten this so that they can obviously implement the 6-game suspension. I don't think the court's going to do that. Zeke's probably going to play the rest of the year. And then he's going to be suspended for 6 games because when they finally do get around to it, the judge is going to say, sorry, you signed the CBA. Them's the rules. You're suspended for 6 games. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I hear you. And you're right. That is what's going to happen.
Right.
But at the same time, you've got to let your case be heard here. And this emergency filing is ridiculous.
I just think it's funny. The reason I brought it up wasn't necessarily because it's easy for us to go down that rabbit hole. It is kind of fun to talk about in a weird way. Sorry if we're boring you guys. I think it's kind of fun to talk about. But I actually didn't bring it up for us to debate it or any of those things because I think we're on the same side here. I just brought it up because it shows you how petty and angry the NFL gets.
That's what it is.
That's all that is. It shows you how angry Roger Goodell gets when things don't happen exactly the way he wants them to happen. So much so that when they say, well, listen, the courts have said this is what's going to happen, he goes, no, that's not what I want to happen. And they go, excuse me?
I want it now.
I'm filing.
I want it now.
Right. That's what it shows you. And it certainly doesn't seem shocking to hear that that's what he would do, right? I mean,
and Zeke could be a piece of crap. It could be that way because, again, we're talking about a really, really serious issue. But at the same time, the NFLPA is doing right by its governing its people, its clients, because it sets a bad precedent. If anybody can just be accused of anything, as you've said often,
yes,
and the league can suspend anybody for being accused of anything.
It's going to encourage people who feel wronged in some shape or form in a relationship or anything else to accuse anybody of anything.
For those that are innocent, and whether or not Zeke is independent of the statement. For those that are innocent, it puts them in peril. It puts them in financial peril. It puts them in peril for whatever outside of football opportunities they may have. Good luck getting an analyst job. Good luck endorsing a product. That's all. I yield my time to the chair.
No, I'm laughing. I'm thinking about, I'm just picturing Roger Goodell during all of this. Oh, and listening to these kinds of discussions across the country about his league and his sport and how, he's got this weird relationship with football.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, go explore that if you never have. I mean, I know you have. Mm-hmm. Go read about how I don't know what to think would have happened to this guy had he not gotten to become commissioner of the NFL.
Yeah, be Howie Schwab or something. Just don't touch the footballs in his office.
No, it would.
You don't know where those have been.
It would have been really. It would have been. I don't think he'd be with us. He'd be in a park somewhere with a.
Well, he'd be the guy outside of a stadium telling you all about the league and the stats and like every report about every
and
team.
you'd be like, oh, who told Roger this is where we were tailgating?
Yeah.
Why already? Who's responsible for this? Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You can tell a lot about a tractor by its warranty. That's why Mahindra makes the toughest tractors on earth. With steel, not plastic. Backed by the industry's best limited powertrain warranty, period. Not 5 years, not 6 years, but a full 7 years on select models. No wonder the other guys are green with envy.
No money down, 0% interest, and no payments until July. Available at TNT Supercenter.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough, I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Season is here, and it's time to score big and get in on the action with MyBookie.ag. MyBookie is an industry-leading website and the best place for you to cash in on all the insane last-minute drives, huge upsets, and heart-pounding finishes. Join now, and MyBookie will match your deposit with up to a 100% bonus. They have in-game live betting on nearly every sporting event, plus a user-friendly mobile site so you never miss a single play. Are you sick and tired of getting the runaround when you ask for a payout? Come join MyBookie today. With decades of expertise, no hassle payouts, and no fine print, you'll experience the greatest customer service in the business, guaranteed. Use promo code RADIO to activate your bonus of up to 100%. Call 844-900-2387 or visit mybookie.ag to open an account. That's 844-900-BETS, or go online to mybookie.ag and use promo code RADIO. Win with the best, only at MyBookie. Sign up today.
Front Row Knowles with Tom Block and Keith Jones. Brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener and presented by Hobson Chevrolet of Cairo, Georgia. Wednesday nights at 6 on 97.9 ESPN Radio. This is the Jeff Cameron Show. Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Cool story. Tallahassee Democrat, give credit where credit's due. It's C.D. Davidson. Special needs tiger helped by local restaurant. Kind of feel good I'm talking about. First of all, isn't that the saddest phrase ever, a special needs tiger? Like, oh, that'd have been tough.
That poor tiger.
Poor tiger wouldn't have made it in the world.
Is this a sheltering type story here?
Spike is a special needs tiger. No, don't have to cue the music. Is living at the Mystic Jungle Education Facility in Live Oak. Spike has what's pronounced as GERD, a gastroesophageal reflux condition that has threatened his life 3 times. During Hurricane Irma, he was put in a life or death situation. The lean meat that he requires spoiled because of all the power outages. So he's going to die. Jumping into action, Spike's caretaker, dubbed Jungle Jamie, I didn't need all that, took to Facebook and reached out to the community saying any donation of venison could help us out. This cat needs this. It's what we got to have. Ricky Irving, if you're listening, good on you, buddy. He is the proprietor. I don't mind giving you credit here to Ted's Montana Grill here in Tallahassee. I like Ted's. He heard about the call for help from his wife. They the restaurant closed on Monday and part of Tuesday for the storm, but he was able to get in touch with that guy, the Jungle Jamie person, and they were able to get Spike the much-needed meat that he had to have. By the way, he consumes 16 to 18 pounds a day.
Oh, my God.
The restaurant donated 20-pound bison roast. It reached Spike's facility on Thursday. He wolfed it down. He's alive and well. They're now able to get him more food. He didn't need any more chances, but he would have died if they had not got him that food, probably within the next 24 hours, says the story. So, hey, all right,
that's cool.
Special needs tiger got helped out by a Tallahassee business. So that's nice, right?
All right, yeah.
Way to go.
Feed the tigers, feed the poor.
Well, you see this picture of the tiger, you go, oh, you little special needs tiger? I'm sorry, you've got a weird gastroesophageal problem? It's a gastroesophageal, Jeff. Get it together. Gastroesophageal. It's not even that hard to say. I struggled with it. All right. I have filibustered enough. There's the music. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You put your mower through a lot. All that back and forth can add up to thousands of miles. That's like mowing cross country. Gravely commercial mowers are built for all-day performance, helping you get the job done mile after mile. Gravely, built to mow the distance.
Get your Gravely motor only at TNT Supercenter, your one-stop shop for work or play. 14585 Highway 19 South, Thomasville, Georgia. TNTSupercenter.com.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
For a limited time, Indeed is offering new users a $50 credit to make their first job listing a sponsored job with premium visibility so more candidates will see it. You want to make a great hire fast, and this exclusive offer gives you a head start. Find out why over 3 million businesses use Indeed for hiring. To redeem this offer, go to Indeed.com/radio. That's Indeed.com/radio. Terms, conditions, and quality standards apply.
Fire up the grills for another season of Seminole football.
2nd and 3, patient, then explosive, and a touchdown for the Noles.
It's Tallahassee Game Day, your ESPN Tallahassee pregame show featuring Jeff Cameron and Tom Lang.
Yeah, I like them.
Get the latest news, interviews, and insights 3 hours ahead of kickoff before the Noles defend home turf.
Hey, on Saturday, we're going to play a game. We're going to most likely win that game, and we're going to celebrate on Sunday.
Tallahassee Game Day is brought to you by Whole Foods Market, a leader in natural and organic food that brings the highest quality of local and global products to Tallahassee. Whole Foods Market, located at 1817 Thomasville Road, and presented by MMT Clinics of Florida. Visit mmtcfl.com.
To the pylon! That's a Seminoles touchdown!
Hendrick.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your savings. Race into Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC for the best selection and service in Tallahassee. Get incredible discounts on racetrack-worthy vehicles, like $10,000 off select new Buicks and GMCs. We are professional grade. And that's not all. We've got a huge used car inventory, so you can find a quality pre-owned vehicle to fit any budget. We even offer low payments and exceptional offers, like 0% APR financing. Hassle? No way. Haggle? Never. Grasshopper at Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC. You'll deal with people you know, like, and trust, and get the honest, friendly service you deserve. That's why our customers will tell you there's no better car buying experience in town. Visit us today at 1850 Capitol Circle Northeast or online at DaleJr.BuickGMC.com. And remember, you too can be a Hendrick driver.
Proof Brewing Company is Tallahassee's first and largest production craft brewery since 2012. They are locally owned and operated inside Railroad Square Art Park. Visit Proof's expansive brewery, outdoor beer garden, and tasting room with live music on Friday evenings. Proof Brewing Company's award-winning beers 850 and Mango Wit are now available in 6-pack cans. Follow Proof Brewing Company on Facebook or visit online at proofbrewingco.com for more info. Proof Brewing Company reminds you to please drink responsibly.
Broadcasting live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. In the season opener for the Colts, Scott Tolzien was intercepted twice for touchdowns and then benched in the fourth quarter in favor of Jacoby Brissett. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports Brissett will likely get the start for the Colts on Sunday against the Cardinals. Giants wideout Odell Beckham Jr. practiced again today, a positive sign that he might make his season debut on Monday night against the Lions, coming back from an ankle injury. The Raiders will sign Pro Bowl offensive lineman Donald Penn to a 2-year, $21 million contract extension. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver wants to give all lottery teams a more equal chance at the number one pick. The Board of Governors will vote later this month on a plan to do just that. And ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski reports the board will also vote on a plan to set guidelines for resting players. The plan would strongly recommend that players be rested only for home games and to discourage multiple starters resting on the same night. Teams could be fined if they don't stick to those guidelines.
The Nissan Heisman House is back. Rush over to NissanHeismanHouse.com to enter for a chance to win a new Nissan Titan. No purchase necessary. Ends December 8th, 2017. Open to residents of the USDC 18 or older. Official rules at NissanUSA.com/Heisman House Sweepstakes.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. It's Libations Friday, brought to you by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill on Appalachia Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
The Jeff Cameron Show, at least for this week, and a fine Libations Friday to you and yours. Thanks for tuning to it. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. Listen live via the streaming free there, as always. If you missed it earlier in the show, your opportunity to get caught up will happen after this hour ends. We'll post the broadcast, all 3 hours of it, on iTunes and in our own audio vault. You can go back and listen to I talk with David Hale and all that good stuff. Hey, I got a question for you. I'll get to it in a second. JCS at 979ESPNradio.com, the email address. Twitter, it's at JCameronShow. WTSM app for your mobile devices. Thanks for listening and watching if you're on YouTube, ESPN Tallahassee. So it is. The weekend arrives about an hour from now for us. Could Lamar Jackson, whom we've talked about on today's show, happen at Florida State?
That's a great question. I don't think so.
I don't think so either. And we were going to make him a receiver.
Right.
So that's curious. I think you can't predict what Lamar Jackson became, so it's not fair to say that that's a problem that Fisher has to own up to, that we had him in camp and that he wanted to play quarterback, and we basically told him he was going to be a receiver, so he was looking at the schools that would let him play quarterback, thus he wasn't coming here. And now he's in the conference, in the division, and he's won a Heisman, and he's even better than he was a year ago, and he's potentially going to beat us twice. Once in record-setting fashion. you get a little angry when you think about it those ways, but I don't think he could have happened here.
No, and you can't think about it that way because,
Well,
again, you
when
are
he's
what
putting
you are.
up a number on you, you can't help but give pause to think about it.
Yeah, but again, it's just that's not what we do here. So Jameis would not have been what he was without Jimbo Fisher in college. If he played at, let's say, Auburn, let's say he went to go play for Gus Malzahn, or
Right,
something
it wouldn't
like,
have worked out. Yeah,
No, I mean, and Dak Prescott, that's why he's a surprise in the pros.
That's right.
Because he had hidden talents while running Dan Mullen's system that only came to light when he made it to the NFL.
I'm in agreement. I just wonder if I think the better way maybe for me to ask the question or to throw in some caveats to it is to say, well, would Jimbo allow for that to happen if once he got him into camp, he began to see signs that there was a unique athleticism and special component to what Lamar Jackson could do with his legs? And thus he at some point said, well, I'm not going to change my system, but I am going to run the hell out of him.
No, again, I don't think it would happen. Now, granted, we just got done with the Cam Akers discussion yesterday, so if you're saying that at the end, I would run the hell out of him. It's kind of the same thing from a different starting point.
But also he ran Ponder a lot when he thought he had to.
Yeah, Lamar was such a work in progress his freshman year when he came down here. That I don't know
without question. Yeah.
That tells me that the starting point was probably below where Jimbo Fisher would have entertained that a quarterback could have been developed.
I think that's exactly right. I think he looked at that as so raw, I don't have the time. I'm not going to do, not for my system especially, I'm not going to do it. It's just, it's funny when you see guys like that and you see what he's doing now. And we'll see if he wins this game on Saturday night. He's actually going to, oddly enough, even as a reigning Heisman Trophy winner who was putting up record numbers, he will ascend to an entirely different level. If Louisville's 3-0 and they beat Clemson, whose defensive segment will be the best segment on the field for this football game, then one of the things that happens is he now wins a game against a great defense, in essence, by himself. They don't have a defense at Louisville, and there aren't that many special players around him. He basically will have won this game by himself if it happens on Saturday night.
Yeah, and again, last year you could say it's a great season for him, obviously because he won the Heisman, but it was probably more accurately a great 6 or 8 weeks, right?
Yeah,
for Lamar.
The biggest problem he had was they lost their last 4 games, right? So that.
But if he were to win this game, then all of a sudden you're talking about Lamar Jackson as an all-timer in college. Like you're starting to entertain beyond the athleticism. You're talking about an all-time performer on the college stage.
You can just cringe when you think about it, but you're right. And I'll tell you what, let's pull a little Louisville W's and L's. I don't want to do that, but I mean, it's less about W's and L's and more about let's just look at that schedule. Because, I mean, obviously they have us later in the year, and that's going to be a great defense that he has to face, is a great defense. So because of that, I think, well, Clemson's defense is great. Florida State's defense is great. And here's the rest of the schedule. So if he gets by Clemson and Florida State, he doesn't face any other great defenses, although he does face at NC State on a Thursday night at 8 o'clock. Piss bombs galore. Mm-hmm. I mean, there you go.
To me,
Tom, I think it goes into the voting criteria. You got to say Clemson, Florida State, and the avoidance of urine bombs.
Yeah, well,
there you go. Just saying.
That's what we try to do on a daily basis. I think all of us.
All of us.
We just try to avoid urine bombs.
That's
day
correct.
To day.
That's why we stay the hell out of that stadium at NC State.
Proverbially in our lives, and then if we actually make the trip up there,
make the trip up there.
Literally,
yeah.
you're
Stop peeing on each other, guys.
To me, what Lee said last hour, Lee Sterling, about this being the matchup of the season, I would agree with that in this sense. Lamar Jackson, the player, versus Clemson, the defense.
Right.
And
it's awesome.
I think it's better than any matchup you're going to see all season long in the ACC. And again, here's why. Because it's in Louisville. It's at Louisville. So the atmosphere is going to be rabid, and that place is going to want to explode for Lamar Jackson. I'll grant you that our defense may be better than Clemson's top to bottom. It may be. And certainly will be more seasoned when we actually play football games and then we get to our matchup on the 21st of October. I'll grant you all that.
Yeah.
But just from the ACC top to bottom, and it's basically us three on this side, but maybe Virginia Tech could surprise some people on the coastal side. This is the matchup, singularly. This is the matchup of the conference year. And that's why I think this game it just gets more interesting and more interesting when you think about the coaching staffs. And we talked about it yesterday, and you quoted it in the summer. Anonymous coaches talking about Brent Venables and what he does.
Yeah, Brent Venables, he's incredible.
Okay, well, Petrino can scheme it up too. And there is no doubt that Bobby Petrino has been waiting for this game, didn't show anything that he was going to show for Clemson in the previous 2 weeks against Purdue and North Carolina. So you got great coaching minds, and then you've got the ultimate test, a segment versus a player. The game-changing player in America versus one of the best segments, one of the best defenses in America, especially up front on the defensive line.
It's why I'm so excited for the game. And if they win it, by the way, it will have been, and I think we're right in describing this as the matchup everybody wants to see, but it will have been just the catalyst to make the next great test on the road against Florida State's elite defense the next great game in the ACC, and probably the one that will surpass this audience's,
Yeah, I mean, perhaps it could
enthusiasm.
Perhaps it could be on a greater stage if he were to win this game.
That's
but
what
again,
I mean.
there's an underdog element to Lamar Jackson coming into Tallahassee, likely for a night game, we would think, against a loaded defense and a raucous crowd with some weapons, versus hosting Clemson. You know what I mean?
No, I get that. And that's why I'm picking them, because they are hosting this game at night, revenge game. We know what that atmosphere is like when they care about a damn football game, and we know what he is when he's locked in and cares about a football game. And I know the frustration of having a kid step out inches from a first down out of bounds to end a game that you're going to win. If he doesn't do that, they're going to beat Clemson. And so, I'm sure he has circled this one, and I'm sure Bobby Petrino has circled this one, and I'm sure they've thought about this one since that moment. That's why. I think it's enough to overcome how poor they play on defense. That, and I don't think Clemson's offense is very good. So I know North Carolina and all these other teams have been able to put up points, and you wouldn't say that they're juggernauts. I got you. They also weren't playing at 8 o'clock at night at Louisville in a game like this, so that defense will play better because of it.
I think it's also worth noting here, as much as perhaps the 2 or 3 years ago we would begrudgingly say so, Dabo gets them up for big games. Clemson is ready to play big games at all times.
Oh, I don't believe intensity, focus, and want to will be a problem for Clemson. It's just, when you get to these stages, if you don't strike early and take a crowd out of the game, you could have real problems. One of the greatest things about the blowout that we handed Clemson up there with Jameis in that game was that, okay, they're trying to set noise records. We're down on the field, literally breaking noise records. The 45-minute trek around the damn stadium on the bus with the cameras and the whole deal. If Florida State had gone out and not thrown a touchdown pass to Kelvin Benjamin right off the bat, not caused a turnover, a scoop, a score, and all that other stuff that happened, if Clemson had scored first and the crowd had been able to stay in that game and the moments get more intense and louder and difficult to overcome, it could have been a completely different game. And for people who don't think so, I mean, look around college football. Watch games get away from people. That same Clemson program had the freaking West Virginia game get away from them. It happens. Momentum is a big deal in college football, and I get tired of Jimbo talking about that. He's not wrong, though. In college football especially, it is a big deal. So Clemson's going to need to come out and play well very early, because if they don't, a bad defense will play well for Louisville.
Well, and again, that's the other thing. I think this game, and the number is set at 58.5 as of earlier this afternoon. I just think that number's a little high. You're assuming that the Louisville offense will play out like it did against North Carolina last week, and that's 700 yards. That's stupid. If they put up 400, that's a great day, and they might very well do that if there's enough possessions in this game. But I think Louisville's defense has a scheme or two different than they put on film. Much like we're talking about Petrino and anything on film, they saved everything for this game. So I think they're going to get a couple of stops just by default, because they're going to give Clemson different looks than Clemson is prepared for this particular game. And then, obviously, again, Lamar's not going to score every single time he takes the field. So that number's a little high to me. But we can't ignore this either. It's the specter of what Louisville did to us last year that has people extra on edge, on the edge of their seats.
I think that's true
for this game. That was a noon kick, and they still whooped our ass. This is an 8 p.m. kick, and it's another one of those type situations. I mean, the parallels are there. Week 3, here you go again. Petrino wasn't pushed for the first couple of weeks. Here's week 3. Clemson coming off a more physical test at the very minimum with Auburn last week. That's a huge game that Clemson just played. They've got to be exhausted emotionally, too, because Auburn was right there the entire game. They're a score away. So that game is much more emotionally exhausting.
So have you convinced yourself you had to take Louisville?
No, I don't think so. No, it's just Lamar has to do everything himself in those first 2 games. What's he has to do in this game? More by himself? That's a lot to ask against this defense.
I think it is a lot to ask for this defense. I think he's a special player at the college level especially. We'll see if he continues to do the developing things that we've talked about with him showing pocket presence, awareness, keeping his eyes downfield even when he's scrambling, throwing accurate passes on the move. He's completing well over 60% of his passes through these first couple of games. Moreover, the decision-making is what I look at. The pass completions and the yardage numbers, that's fine. It's the decision-making.
You could prepare for Michael Vick all day long in college. It didn't matter.
Nope.
You could see the film.
It was frustrating.
However, I would say that Clemson, having seen what Lamar Jackson can do last year, and you flip on the film of what they did to us last year.
Oh.
I mean,
what he did to them?
From an energy, the second half. From an energy standpoint, I think Clemson will be able to muster up enough, even though they're coming off of an emotional,
the game
physical
can't get
game.
started soon enough, man. Because I feel like you can make really compelling cases for both of these squads. I did not feel that way last year, and a lot of people got, frustrated with that. You and I almost dismissed Louisville outright for the Clemson game.
Correct.
Now Clemson won the game, and they did try to blow a 28-10 lead. But they won the game, and so we were justified and said, hey, we won our game. But I had to admit the second half raised an eyebrow.
Are you kidding me, Clemson? That's what we were doing.
Well, right.
Are you going to F this up?
Yeah, we couldn't believe it. But Lamar was making plays,
Yeah.
and they were exhausted. And chasing him is exhausting, even for the best defenses. I love that in Hale's piece. He talked about how Brent Venables likes to show Lamar Jackson video, but not the kind that ESPN shows. Rather, the plays where the defense does everything right and gets toasted. Only those plays. He says, look, they did nothing wrong. This was perfectly played by the end. This was the right defensive call against the wrong offensive play. Everything breaks down. There's a bust off the right side. There's a confusion. And look at this a-hole go for 46 yards.
Right.
Or look at this throw after all of those problems. That's smart on his part, but it's also a testament to how good Lamar is.
Exactly, and there's 4 or 5 plays you could even look at with goal to go. Where there's actually a broken play and he ends up running it into the end zone. There's one last week against North Carolina. North Carolina did everything right. He makes 2 guys miss, look like fools, and he's in the end zone dancing.
Yeah. It sucks. It happened to us last year.
It did.
A couple plays where I thought, that's the right call. Missed it. Oh, he's gone. He's gone. Okay.
Yeah.
That's that realization. You're like, oh, no, nobody's going to get him.
Yeah, you see him get going.
Yeah, and you're like, he's faster than everybody on our defense.
I'm looking at these angles. These angles don't look like they're going to intercept his course.
Right, it's all rapid fire. You're like, that's a good call. Got him. Get him. Oh, he didn't get him down. Make it. Oh, he's gone. Okay. That's a touch. Son of a.
I'll take another tall boy.
Yeah. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You can tell a lot about a tractor by its warranty. That's why Mahindra makes the toughest tractors on earth. With steel, not plastic. Backed by the industry's best limited powertrain warranty, period. Not 5 years, not 6 years, but a full 7 years on select models. No wonder the other guys are green with envy.
No money down, 0% interest, and no payments until July. Available at TNT Supercenter.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Watch the big game inside or on their covered patio on one of over 60 HD TVs. However you come to relax, you will have a good time and great food at Miller's Ale House on Appalachia Parkway.
When it comes to live gaming excitement, Creek Entertainment Gretna is your hometown headquarters.
With live poker and simulcast race betting, you've got more winning opportunities right here close to home. Plus, we now offer 3-card poker and Pai Gow in our card room. Satisfy big appetites at Stables, featuring hot and cold sandwiches, salads, and weekend specials. There's always something exciting going on at Creek Entertainment Gretna, I-10, exit 174, Gretna, Florida.
Football season is here, and it's time to score big and get in on the action with MyBookie.ag. MyBookie is an industry-leading website and the best place for you to cash in on all the insane last-minute drives, huge upsets, and heart-pounding finishes. Join now, and MyBookie will match your deposit with up to a 100% bonus. They have in-game live betting on nearly every sporting event, plus a user-friendly mobile site, so you never miss a single play. Are you sick and tired of getting the runaround when you ask for a payout? Come join MyBookie today. With decades of expertise, no hassle payouts, and no fine print, you'll experience the greatest customer service in the business, guaranteed. Use promo code RADIO to activate your bonus of up to 100%. Call 844-900-2387 or visit mybookie.ag to open an account. That's 844-900-BETS, or go online to mybookie.ag and use promo code RADIO. Win with the best, only at MyBookie. Sign up today.
Beef O'Brady's Burgers across America with Des Moines Triple Bacon, Green Bay's 5-Cheeser, or the Memphis Love Me Tender. All made with premium blend Angus. Pick any two for just $17. Beefs, but your Angus, it's good.
At Whole Foods Market, we believe in real food. Food that's full of nutrients, naturally vivid and colorful, fresh and delicious. Food that connects you to your body, to the seasons, and to the natural world. We believe food should nourish you and help you think. It should help you feel calm, clear-headed, and strong. It should help you do more, sleep better, and wake up happier. That's food that lives up to its name. We believe in real food. Whole Foods Market.
Hey folks, Ron Vitrano here with great news for North Florida and South Georgia used car, truck, and SUV buyers. Car Gurus has named its top-rated used car dealer for 2017, Frank's Auto World on West Tennessee Street. Car Gurus rates each used vehicle for sale based on price and rates it as bad, fair, or a good deal. Who's the most good deals? FranksAutoWorld.com. Think I'm kidding? Type in FranksAutoWorld.com on your smartphone, iPad, or desktop. Get multiple pictures and even a free Carfax of each vehicle and a rating by Car Gurus showing you the price is a good deal. FranksAutoWorld.com.
You're listening to the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Right out the gates this year, Mom and I split 4 games, a whopping 4 games different last weekend, saw a 2-2 finish. And as you hear AC/DC, that means you know it's time for the picks again. And if you would, Tom, ready it, and we shall get started with Mom, who still doesn't have power, by the way, thanks to Hurricane Irma. We'll bring her in a second. Cue it up.
And now for another edition of the Family Pick. Nick.
Go to your room!
Ma, the meatloaf! Take it away, Jeffrey.
All right, Mom. So I know you don't have power, but I do believe you went to a friend's house last night and were able to watch one of the worst football games of the year.
I know. In fact, it was so bad that we actually left at halftime, even though we were enjoying the wonderful air conditioning and everything else. We were like, this is absolutely ridiculous. It was terrible.
Yeah, you know how bad a football game has to be for people who haven't had air in like a week to turn it off and leave an air-conditioned condo to go back to the home that doesn't have air conditioning. That's how bad that football game was.
That's exactly right. And I was like, oh, I don't know. The air conditioning almost won out, but it really was terrible. I mean, I can't believe it. I don't think Cincinnati has scored a touchdown yet.
Well, no, they haven't. They have not scored an offensive touchdown yet. And that's they were setting records, and Houston's terrible too. There was nothing about that game that was redeeming other than it was in the balance in the last 5 minutes of the game. So if you're looking for intrigue or drama, there's a game that's at least a one-score game with the final few minutes to play. But it was terrible. It's awful.
Terrible. Andy Dalton, I mean, he just looked like, I mean, he was throwing balls all crazy. I mean, not even near the receivers.
Yeah, I think he's been shaken up a little bit. I think something's going on between his ears that suggests now that he doesn't have the confidence that we've seen.
Yeah, an offensive line. Yeah.
No, but he even when he had time, he sucked. I don't want to keep giving scapegoats there. The offensive line wasn't good for either team, but he didn't make throws when he had time. So I don't know. I will say this again. Last week we had 4 different. We ended up splitting. That's the good news. So we're dead even. I don't know who did you have last night, by the way.
I actually picked Cincinnati.
Me too.
I don't know. You did? Oh,
Yeah.
good. I don't know why I picked them. I just felt like they were playing at home. That's really the only reason I picked them, because I didn't think either one was very good. But and with Deshaun Watson, starting, I thought they're probably going to give him a little bit of trouble. So anyway, and I tell you what, that one hit that is it Atkins that hit him?
Yeah, he's awesome. Good player.
Oh my goodness! I said welcome to the NFL. That's for sure. But anyway, so I had Cincinnati last night.
Me too. I did too, and neither team deserved to win the game, and we both lost it. So here we go. Cleveland's at Baltimore.
Baltimore.
Buffalo's at Carolina.
I'm taking Carolina.
Arizona's at Indianapolis.
Arizona.
Tennessee at Jacksonville.
Yeah, I'm not sure about Jacksonville or Tennessee. And I don't have my sheet in front of me that I usually look at when I pick them. I'm taking Jacksonville.
It's not a terrible pick. They could win this game. I'm going to pick Tennessee, but I'm already regretting the pick. I'll take the Titans to win on the road in a close game, but you'll take Jacksonville, and I get it. I mean, they played
pretty good. And then I forget who they played last week, but I thought that it was the team wasn't a terrible team.
It was Houston, Mom. It was the team that just got the.
Oh my
you just
God!
got done
It
talking
was
about.
a terrible team.
Yeah.
Okay, well I take that back.
Anyhow, all right. Philadelphia at Kansas City in what is a great game.
I know. I'm going to take Kansas City. I like my Kansas City.
Yeah, they're playing well. I'll take them as well. New England's at New Orleans. You're going to take New England. Minnesota at Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I'm going to take Pittsburgh.
Me too. Tampa Bay, you're going to take the Bucks, of course, against the Bears. Dolphins travel to face the Los Angeles Chargers. Good game.
Yeah, I know, and that's one of those cross-country things. Golly, that's a hard one.
May not matter that it's a cross-country game because Miami hasn't played, remember? And they've been staying out in L.A., so.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. Well, that's a good point. I think I'll take Miami.
I'll take the Chargers. There we go. We got a second game different here. I'll take the Chargers in a squeaker. Okay. I got it as a toss-up. All right, now we're both going to take Oakland to pound the Jets. Dallas is at Denver.
That's really a good game, don't you think?
I do.
I'm taking Dallas.
I am too. Washington's at Los Angeles. That would be the Rams. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Gosh, I get confused with that. And my brain is very addled. You have to forgive me after 5 days with no electricity.
No, I know. And stuff strewn about the yard.
I know. All the animals, and it's hot as hell. And, oh, my goodness. Okay. Who are we picking?
Washington against the Rams, yes.
I'm taking Washington.
I'm going to take the Rams. All right.
Oh,
here we
my
go.
God.
Look at this. Belief in the Rams. Jared Goff. Here we go. San Francisco at Seattle. We'll both take Seattle.
Seattle, yep.
Green Bay at Atlanta. Great game.
That is a great game. It's and you know how I love my Aaron Rodgers.
I know how you do.
But I really, really do. And I don't like Atlanta, but I am taking them.
I'm taking Atlanta as well. They played awful last week. I suspect they'll be a lot better. Green Bay didn't look great last week either, so this will be interesting.
No, I know. That's what I thought. Green Bay didn't look too good either. Atlanta at home and everything, I just kind of think, and, I think Atlanta will be good again. So I am taking them, but it's hard for me to pick against Aaron. But
we'll both be rooting for Aaron Rodgers at 8:30 on Sunday night, I can tell you that. And finally, Monday Night Football is a real winner. Detroit's at the Giants.
Oh, gosh. I'm taking the Giants.
I guess I am too, but I don't believe in them. I'll take them. That's a game. I don't know. Either.
I agree with you. That's a game.
Yeah.
It could go either way.
Right.
There's
so we have three different.
I want to tell you this. I hope on Sunday night at 8:30 I have my darn power back.
It was close. Yeah. No, I hope you do too. I know it's getting disconcerting.
I could have said a much stronger expletive.
Yeah. Well, you've still got the condo to go to, your friend's condo. You need to take it on down. Are they back yet? Are they going to be there?
No, they're not there. They're not there.
Well, then what are we doing? I'd be there 24 hours a day.
They may be back on Sunday though. They may be coming down on Sunday.
Tell them to take their time.
Yeah. I know. Well, I think, listen, they've been so kind and we can use it anytime. And I just, I can't stay there all the time because, I have lots of
pets,
things to take care of.
Well, if I were you, I'd be butt naked on their couch, unbeknownst to them, for the next 72 hours. Love you, Mom. I'll talk to you next week.
Okay. I love you, too. You guys have a good week. Does FSU play this weekend?
No.
I didn't think so. I know that all that scheduling, I can't keep it all straight. And since I have no television or anything to let me know what's happening, we could be at war and I wouldn't know it.
Well, I'm not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole. Bye, Mom.
All right. I love you. Bye-bye. Have a good weekend.
All right. You too. Bye-bye. Yeah. So, 3 this week. We had 4 last week. I have to put my faith in freaking Mariota and Jared Goff. How about them apples? At least I got Angry Phillip.
Yeah. So you love understated Marcus Mariota and then Showtime LA × 2.
Yeah, I'll do that. I don't like my picks. I don't love her picks. It's a proof that the the NFL is a salary cap league. Those teams are about the same.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Those teams are all about the same. They're like, well,
pretty close.
Yeah, don't turn it over. That's about that. Yep. Come back, wrap it up momentarily. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
You put your mower through a lot. All that back and forth can add up to thousands of miles. That's like mowing cross country. Gravely commercial mowers are built for all-day performance, helping you get the job done mile after mile. Gravely, built to mow the distance.
Get your Gravely motor only at TNT Supercenter, your one-stop shop for work or play. 14585 Highway 19 South, Thomasville, Georgia. TNTSupercenter.com.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford. The place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
The Tap Invitational, September 29th and 30th. This 2-day event features a block party Friday and a beer festival on Saturday. VIP and general admission tickets are available at FloridaTapInvitational.com.
Hi, Chris Kraft. Tallahassee dodged a bullet with Hurricane Irma, but the majority of Florida was not so lucky. So Kraft Nissan is teaming up with the Capital Area Red Cross. You buy a new car and we donate $100 to the Red Cross. And Kraft Nissan is guaranteeing a minimum total donation of $5,000. If your vehicle was damaged by the storm, you automatically qualify for Nissan's factory employee pricing A-Plan, which is up to $1,500 under invoice. In addition, you keep all rebates or 0% interest on most models. And Nissan Corporate has just announced no payments for 6 months. That's right, until March. It's Nissan's way of helping our neighbors. Plus, save $6,000 off on all 2017 Altimas in stock. And Kraft Nissan has created a one-month program called Storm Recovery Sign and Drive. Zero money due at inception. That's right, no money down, nothing. And lease a new Sentra S for just $255 a month, or a 2017 Rogue Sport for only $275 a month. Kraft Nissan, doing our part to keep this Nissan town rolling. But hurry, it all ends October 2nd. Payments based on 36-month lease with approved credit through NMAC, monthly payments plus tax.
And now, a Sport Clips well-played moment.
Gentlemen, as you sit in your car or on your stationary bicycle to victory, what do you ponder? Do you think about the fantasy trade your soon-to-be ex-best friend denied? That speech you rehearsed in the shower to confront the loud chewer at your office? Or have you forgotten what you think about? Fear not, because we have a lot on our minds, which includes a head of hair that must be maintained. Sport Clips Haircuts knows this, which is exactly why they created the ultimate haircut place for men who have other things to think about. A great MVP haircut experience with a hot steam towel, massaging shampoo, and sweet, sweet sports on TV. Everything you need for the hair on your head and face with little thought, planning, or preparation. Watch sports, feel great, problem solved. Then when it's done, look in the mirror and say to yourself, well played, sir. Well played.
Sport Clips Haircuts. Find a location near you at sportclips.com.
Live from the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. It's Libations Friday, brought to you by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill on Appalachia Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
It's weird how there's kind of a triggered mechanism here with Fridays in that it hasn't been a laborious, interminable week. It's been a couple of days that we've been on the air, and yet the Friday music goes, yeah, oh, thank God, Friday, sweet Jesus. Never thought it'd get here.
Well, from an on-air standpoint, yeah, there hasn't been as many hours of work, but there's been plenty of hours of work.
No. Working's working. I got you. And if you have to be at your office for anything ever, that's not what you would do, even if you love your job.
Given the choice?
Yeah, that's just not what you do, even if you think your job is the greatest thing ever. And we both love our job. It's just, it's a job. It's not being at home with your loved ones, hanging out with your friends, or being at a ball game. It's not. It's work. So, yeah, but it's weird because immediately I hear that music and I go, oh, yeah, that's it. Relief. All right.
Well, it means a lot of football, too, is what it means.
Yeah, it does.
Not our football on Saturdays, but,
You had to do it, Tom. You had to do it, man. I had moved on. I had already accepted this the last weekend of no FSU football for a very long time, given that we don't have any buys from here on out.
That's always the best way of putting it. That's the last one
Yeah.
through the Saturday after Thanksgiving. There it is.
You know what we have to do? We always do this kind of what's on tap at the end of the show here. I'm going to make you laugh with this one. I can't make this stuff up. This actually happened today. I'll tell you what's on tap here in a moment. Go ahead.
Ready for a cold one? Proof Brewing Company in Railroad Square Art Park presents What's on Tap. So, Jeff, what'll it be?
I'm going to have an 850 in about 10 minutes. A Proof 850. That's what's on tap.
Okay.
I'm going to have one. I'm going to have several. But I'm going to do so after I tell you this. We want to thank our good friends at Proof Brewing Company for coming on board to sponsor What's on Tap. Proof Brewing Company. You can speak, Jeff. And For the Table Hospitality, present the 5th Annual Florida Tap Invitational, September 29th and 30th, one of North Florida's largest two-day beer festivals. VIP and general admission tickets are available online, FloridaTapInvitational.com. So what's on tap besides all the football, which we will be watching? That was dreadful last night. I mean, Jesus. The NFL should apologize. That was really bad. I on the one hand, you certainly forgive one of the quarterbacks for being awful. I mean, he's making his first ever start. It's a hurried start at that. And from what I read, he didn't have a lot of time with the ones during the week.
Exactly.
And all kinds of weird things. So I'll give him a pass. That doesn't mean he wasn't awful, because he was awful. Deshaun Watson, folks, and Michael Irvin, get the hell out of here. after that game,
You watched the post game?
Yes. Oh yeah, I was up. I football, and I was watching baseball too. I was going back and forth with the baseball. I was watching when Lindor got the hit off the wall with 2 strikes, and amazing. But I was going back and forth. I watched the post game because I actually wanted to hear the Deshaun Watson interview. I wanted to hear what he had to say. I like him, so I wanted to hear what he had to say. But they cut to. I just don't know why. And Irvin's not the only guilty one of this. This is true of a lot of post game shows, pregame shows, halftime shows, on all the networks. And I don't see the need. I mean, they try to talk about a guy before they've accomplished anything and put undue pressure on him. Irvin's like, well, this is why I said that if you passed on him, it'd be like passing on Michael Jordan. I mean, he was asked and to be put in a tough spot to come in here and start a football game on the road, and he got his team a victory. Man, get the hell out of here with that nonsense, Mike. First of all, Deshaun Watson comparisons to Michael Jordan, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Michael Jordan is arguably the greatest basketball player to ever live. Deshaun Watson, if he's lucky, will have a mediocre career for the next 10 seasons as a quarterback in the league. If he's better than I think he is, then maybe he has a good career. He's not going to be a transcendent quarterback in the National Football League. He's not. And if he is, I'll rescind that, but he's not. And you certainly wouldn't say coming out of college it's akin to overlooking Michael Jordan in the NBA draft. That's crazy. Why would you say that? But he's not the only one. Now, maybe they're piggybacking off of Dabo's comment, because Dabo was the one who originally said, I don't know what teams are looking at. If they pass on Deshaun Watson, it's like passing on Michael Jordan. All right, but when a coach says that, okay, that's his guy. And in college, obviously, Deshaun Watson was the best player in the country, arguably at times, and won Dabo a ton of games. So he's invested in him personally. He's invested in him as a head coach and as a friend and as a father figure. I get that. What are you doing, Michael Irvin?
Deshaun was a head-turner in college. There's no doubt about that, but he wasn't the best quarterback in the conference last year.
No, and he wasn't close to the best quarterback in the – first of all, that draft class was terrible for quarterbacks.
Correct.
We talked about this. I just don't know why anybody would do that. It's unfair to him, actually. And the weirdness is it's not such a shot at Deshaun Watson.
No, it's not.
It's just unfair to say that about him. Look, there are a lot of guys. The history has now been proven. We've seen this. There are more dynamic runners than Deshaun Watson that have come into the league. See RG3. RG3 was a freak, a world-class sprinter.
Michael Vick.
Yes, of course. But if you want to compare him to a decent human being, then you compare him to RG3.
Next year, there's going to be a more dynamic runner.
Yes. So are we to say, Wilt Chamberlain's joining the league, everybody? I mean, what are we doing?
Kaepernick was a more dynamic runner.
Of course. So it doesn't make any sense to do that. I don't know why then, because he can run around. Well, we already knew he could run around. And the one touchdown they scored was him running around.
Yeah.
That's not a real football play. That's a guy running around. Okay, great. It's a great run, but we already knew he had that. As a quarterback, he didn't do anything last night. He was terrible. So I just don't get the post game, the lauding of the performance. The performance sucked. They just got lucky. They played the sorry-ass Bengals, who are terrible.
No, but it tells you exactly what happens in the NFL from a rep standpoint. You know how many reps you actually get. It's not like, let's say, Jimbo's practice. Here,
equal reps and all that.
Equal reps for everybody. No, the ones get the reps.
Yes.
They get the reps.
If you're a backup there, you don't get reps.
So he hasn't been getting reps.
No.
All week
he
prior to
ended
the
up
opener.
having a good year. I hope he does. I like the kid. He was awful last night, and he regressed from the preseason.
Correct. Exactly. Yes. Because in the preseason, a lot of similar situations, he's breaking contain, and his eyes are down the field. That's why I thought, whoa, okay, we got something here.
That was gone.
Last night, his eyes were down about 3 feet in front of his face, and he's running for his life. The only good portion of that game was the last 2 minutes of the first half, where you had, they go down the field, they get a couple of big first downs when they're pinned back in their own territory, the Texans. Then the huge hit by Atkins, as your mom just talked about, which was just brutal.
It was brutal.
I mean, that's 2 in his last 2 starts, if you think about it. Because in the national championship game, he did the 360 when he was trying to go for the first down.
Well, it's why you don't make a living running around as a quarterback.
Precisely. It's not sustainable, especially in the NFL.
No.
And then, Andy Dalton leads Cincinnati right back down the field. They sputter in the red zone.
Kick the field goal.
But there was actually good action for about 2 minutes there, and then the rest of the game was garbage.
The only sequence, and you just named it, were those 2 possessions. The rest of that game is an atrocity. And I did note that all over Twitter and other social media platforms last night, for what it's worth, even though they're annoying, you do get to gauge the pulse, at least of those that speak about these things publicly on social media. But this is a trend now. The NFL seriously has to look at what they're doing with these Thursday night games. They're never good. They're never, ever, 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 ever good. They're close, but they're not good. They're not well-played games. And it's presenting the worst of your product. And people begin to resent it because I think certainly when you have as much NFL shoved down your throat as we do, football in general, I mean, certainly there is a football game on almost every night. And at the beginning of the season, that's very exciting. But over time, you can grate on you. When you present that as your product, man, and people tune into that, especially when the college game was what it was last night, people were going to flip to the NFL because it's Boise State, New Mexico, and nobody cares. So you flip on that game, and that's what you see. That's not your best foot forward, man. You need to stop with this. It's also there's safety concerns.
No, you just need to look at an extra bye week. And that's how you work it out.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to extend the season to 17 or 18 regular season games, and so you still get your 20 gates, you play 2 preseason games, however you want to do it, do it. But I believe the math works out. Maybe it doesn't. But if you had 2 bye weeks, then everybody could have a bye in preparation for their Thursday night game. Yeah, and then there's the spacing out. So, you know, you get your bye week, then you play on a Thursday, then you have 10 days to prepare for your next opponent, and there you go. There is the piece. But right now, you've got your off day on Monday. Then on Tuesday, what are you doing? Are you doing any contact? Light contact?
Oh, no, and anymore. They don't.
You're walking through on Wednesday, and then you're playing a full game on Thursday. That's just dumb.
Yeah, it doesn't feel safe, does it? And it's also just not good for the product. They never play crisp football games. You don't see well-played games, well-executed football plays. You just don't see it. You don't see the best players making spectacular plays like you do when it's spaced out properly.
You'd probably see better football if it went 6 quarters on Sunday or 8 quarters on Sunday than you would, waiting this extra little bit of time.
I think you're right. So what's on tap? And I said I was going to tell you something funny. I can't make this stuff up. It's true. So and you guys can laugh at me. Feel free, because I would laugh at me about this too. So I'm not a handyman. I'm not a handy guy. I admit it. It's a weakness of mine. I admire those who are. I wish I possessed those skills. But my buddy Matt Millar, our buddy Matt Millar, that guy, he could build a house by himself. I ain't that guy. I can't do anything. I mean, literally, I am useless when it comes to around the house. I can mow a lawn. I'll mow the lawn with the best of them. I have installed a sink, so I guess I shouldn't say I can't do anything, but it has to be damn easy. Mm-hmm. Like, step 1, take out of the box. Step 2, place on the counter. Step 3, staple. Like, it has to be, it has to be something ridiculous where I go, oh, well, that's all this is? I'm not building you a deck. I can't really even use a level. I mean, I am pitiful.
Really, the level?
Well, I mean, I can, but I don't like it. I don't trust myself.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm
the pencil lines and stuff.
I don't
Screw
feel like,
that, man.
It's ridiculous. And we share this. You're not the handiest guy in the world either.
I don't care to be. I'll bet I could be, but I don't care.
You don't care to be, and I don't care to be, because we just like to pay somebody to come do it and be done with it.
Yeah.
But that said, I really wish I had the ability to just look at something. My stepdad can fix anything in the world. It's the most admirable quality that he has. Besides, characteristic of of who he is. I mean, he's a great person, but the skills that he has, he's a lawyer, he's all these things. That guy, you could drop a piggy bank, shatter it all over the floor, and he'd be like, that's all right. I'll get it. I'll put it back together. Mm-hmm. And within an hour, it's like it never, all the porcelain is seamless. It's amazing.
Right, yeah.
So he can do that. Then he can look at an electrical outlet and go, oh.
Yeah.
And then unscrew that without killing himself and fix it. Not me.
Man, my brother-in-law Mike and his dad are just like that. His
It's
dad
ridiculous.
has worked and he's done everything. He's been everywhere to every town he's worked
a
on.
carpenter. He's doing it all.
Right, now he's an electrician. So we're talking about radio engineering when I'm up, in the mountains.
Oh, and I'm sure he figured it right out.
Oh, he's telling me about it. Like, I'm saying, here's what I know. And he goes, well, this is why this happens. And you know why this happens? Okay, now here's the thing about wattage.
It's amazing, right?
And he started about output of wattage. And he's like, yeah, you could install this. When they ask you to do this, tell them no, because that'll be inefficient. It'll burn out in 2 years.
You're like, this is
I've seen it all the time.
Yeah.
And then he and my brother-in-law the next day fixed the entire house. That's what they do.
It's awesome. And I wish I had that skill. So I say all that to say this. I don't have that skill. The storm caused a big ash tree in my yard to keel over. Very sad day. I like that tree. It was a good tree, about a 100-year-old tree. Huge. Obliterated my mailbox. I mean, just took it out. Now, that mailbox needed to go anyway. Yeah, that mailbox needed to go. Almost took out my neighbor's cars. It went across the street. This thing is huge. So anyhow, yesterday morning, I said, why don't you be a man? The studio's occupied. You're not going in there until after 10 o'clock in the morning. Get your ass out of bed. Now, I'm up early anyhow. But once I get the kids to school, there I am by myself, and I got a little 2-hour window, maybe a 3-hour window. And I think, you should be able to, you're a grown-ass man. You ought to be able to install a mailbox. I mean, what do you need? You need the post hole digger. You need like a 2x4.
Boy, that doesn't sound.
Yeah, you need a couple of things, right? You need to be able to put on the cross arm, and you need to buy an actual mailbox. So I go, all right, I'm doing it.
Y'all got a post hole digger around here?
So I got my post hole digger. I have one. And then I went and bought.
Gets racy on the weekends.
I went to a certain hardware store and I purchased a mailbox and the wood that was necessary, the post.
Oh yeah,
and all the things, and I did it. I had the rubber mallet and I had the screwdrivers and the wrench and everything else. I assembled the freaking mailbox. Not even one of those already ready-made ones, which make it easier, but I wanted this one particular kind. So I did it. Now, that part wasn't that hard. That was just nuts and bolts and screws. It was pretty easy. I did that. I hammered the wooden stake into the ground. I did the level. I did it. I put the cross arm on. I screwed that sucker in the wood paneling that lifts the mailbox up. Put the mailbox on top of that, screwed it into the wood, did the whole deal. Took like a good hour and a half of hard labor.
Handy people right now are cracking the hell up saying,
because I'm not using the right terminology.
No, but they're saying congratulations, you put a mailbox in the ground, Cameron.
No. I already made fun of myself. The precursor to this whole thing was that my sorry ass can't do this stuff. So here's the point.
All handyman on Southern, by the way. That's just where I went.
It's just fun. The mailbox was successfully assembled, put up, and it looked glorious. You've seen it. I took a picture of it and sent it to you and everybody else who knows me.
Yeah.
I said, hey, look what your boy did. Look at the mailbox. I was so proud of it. It's a good-looking mailbox. All right, so true story. This morning, kids are going to school. My wife is backing out. I'm waving goodbye, and I shut the door to go take a shower, to come in here to go to work, and the phone rings, and it's Christy, who just left, my wife, and I go, hey, babe, what's up? Did you forget something? And she goes, your mailbox fell over.
No way.
Okay, so I got to tell you, I was emasculated immediately. I thought, oh, God, dog, that is embarrassing. And I checked it, Tom. I was like pushing on. I was like, I don't know how this could happen. So the mailbox overnight fell over. My sorry ass. I was proud of that thing.
I didn't know this part.
Okay, so the mailbox fell over.
I knew the great efforts it took to build this thing.
Yes. Mailbox laying on the ground. I said, stop screwing around. Because that's something she would do. She's funny.
Right.
And I go, stop screwing around. And she goes, no, your mailbox is laying on the ground. I just thought you should know. I'm going to school. And she leaves. I'm so pissed. I've screamed at the top of my lungs, something I can't say on the air. And so then anyhow, I throw on some clothes. I go out there to inspect the situation. There it is, laying on the ground. I'm just devastated. Now, it's not damaged, but it's just laying on the ground. And I'm looking around, and I'm thinking, well, this doesn't make any sense. I don't know how this fell down. It doesn't. Why did this come out? It doesn't. And I'm staring at it. So I walk it up to my house. I lean it up against the side of the wall. I'm going to go back out there today, and I got to do it again. So that's what's on tap. I got to do this when I get home. But that's a fun Friday night. But check this out. I go in the house. You talk about just absolutely crestfallen. There I am, pouring my coffee, thinking, you loser. You can't even, you think you put a mailbox up, and you can't even, not even 24 hours.
Yeah, it's like the sulking music from Peanuts.
It's just pitiful. Yeah, it's just awful. So I'm pouring my cup of coffee, take a sip, start to finally get in the shower. Boom, somebody's knocking on my door. This is all at about 1:00 in the morning. Somebody, I'm like, who the hell is beating on my door? So it's startling when somebody knocks on your door at 7:00 in the morning.
Sure.
So I walk over there. I look out. It's the neighbor from across the street. I open the door. He goes, hey, listen, Jeff, how are you? And I go, good. I haven't seen you since the storm. Everything all right? Blah, 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 blah. He goes, listen, my father-in-law ran over your mailbox this morning.
Oh.
So sweet Jesus redemption. I wanted to hug him. I almost gave him a hug right then and there. He thought I was crazy. I go, he did? And he goes, yeah, he backed right over it. They live in Naples. They got taken out. They've been here all week long. They were leaving to go back this morning. He was backing out. I was waving goodbye. I saw him just plow into your mailbox. And I go, well, that son of a bitch. That's all right. I'll fix that this evening. And then he goes, well, I can do it. Obviously, it's my responsibility. I go, no, I got this. Don't worry. I can put the mailbox up. So then he goes, you seem almost giddy. that my father-in-law took out your mailbox and said, I am. You don't know the half of it. I was just contemplating what a loser I was when you knocked on the door. And he goes, oh, well, I don't know if that changes anything. And he makes a quip, da-da-da. And then anyhow, I said, oh, you have a great day. Tell your father-in-law it's all right. Things happen. He's got more things to worry about going back to Naples. I immediately called my wife. She didn't pick up the phone. And then I texted, pick up the damn phone. And she picked it up finally. And she goes, what? And I go, the father-in-law next door took out the mailbox. Your husband was competent, and he successfully installed a mailbox, and it didn't fall because I didn't know what I was doing because some old man just backed over that bitch last night, or this morning, excuse me. So she celebrated my triumph there. She was actually happy.
I don't know that What's on Tap will ever be topped ever again. I think this is the most in-depth What's on Tap you'll ever get in your life.
That's what happened. That's a true story. I went from just the, absolutely downtrodden, agony of defeat, to the joy of victory in seconds when he told me that old man ran over my mailbox. But what are the chances? Less than 24 hours after I finally do something of handiwork, if you want to call it that, successfully put up a mailbox, some guy runs it over.
I hope you never install a chandelier then.
Good work out of you, sir. Thank you, Matthew, as well. Thanks to all of you who called and or listened. Enjoy your weekend. Sorry it doesn't include Florida State football.
Let's go Tigers. Take out them Cardinals.
Louisville's going to win that game going away, Tom Lang. Going away. Big win. It's Jeff Cameron Show 97.9 ESPN Radio.